friends, what's up? It is Phillip here with Points of Phillip, but more importantly, we have the Spencer Johnson on our channel, everybody. I don't know, actually, I don't know how I got him here, but he is here, and we're going to talk so much. Spencer, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course, dude. Thank you for having me. I mean, since, getting to meet you in person at the Puerto Rico meetup, it's just like, I don't know, I feel like you and I get along on a lot of different levels. So this is like a lot of fun to just get to chat with you in front of everybody
Yeah,
else too, I guess.
of course. Yeah, exactly. Everybody gets to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and it looks like I was watching Chad from Chad's Money
Mhm.
Minutes had a live on earlier today, and he had some interesting takes. He always does. He always has some really cool
Hell
stuff that
yeah.
nobody really is talking about. But it looks like everyone's starting to file in here, which is really great. I just want a special shout out to Haas Hamidi for becoming a YouTube member. Thanks so much for doing that.
Awesome.
Hopefully, you'll be able to find something that's helpful. So,
You will. I recently joined the membership for Philip too, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. So go
thanks.
support your fellow, your favorite creators and stuff. It's great.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Spencer. I appreciate that.
Hmm.
All right. So basically, before the world blew up, before the whole built 2.0, then 2.1, then 2.125,
Right.
we're planning on actually just talking about which bank point is kind of the easiest to get value from, kind of the best one get basically.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and let's talk about Chase. How's is Chase easy to get value from for you?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people have probably come to know, like, if they've seen my content, they know that I'm kind of like a Chase fanboy at heart, really, and that for me comes down to the fact that not only do they have, in my opinion, the most flexible currency, since they have the 1 cent per point cash out rate, which of course not a lot of
Yeah.
points and miles people or really no points and miles people are using, but it's
Yeah.
nice to have that, like, for the general public.
Absolutely.
They have that. Plus, they have transfer partners that fit my lifestyle completely, like, naturally. For example, Hyatt's like, my favorite hotel partner, not just because of the valuations, but I've loved their hotels. And then
Yeah.
Southwest, being in Texas, like, I've always used, Southwest, even though it's not the best redemption rate. That's just, for everyday
Right.
domestic travel, it's sometimes hard to beat something as simple as that. And then,
Yeah.
of course, the I guess icing on the cake for me, especially as somebody with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, is the points boost feature through their portal, which has gone through a lot of negative changes. Yet at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I mean, like, the fact remains that you're not going to get that kind of boost with any other lender. So for me, I think Chase, I guess, easiest to use is kind of like an interesting term, because technically easiest to use is going to depend on the specific user. But for me, it
Yeah.
just fits my lifestyle the best. And since I know how to get value from each redemption method, like, for me, it is the easiest and most valuable. And yeah, I've kind of, like, I'd be completely open to moving away from them, but I just can't get away from. I always need more Chase points. I always redeem them, the
Yeah.
most often. So it's just what I got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say, so I really was kind of locked out basically, but because I just applied to too many cars. I was locked out to for the Chase Ultimate Reward things for a while.
Hmm.
And fortunately, my wife wasn't, so she was actually able to get the CSP, which is how I have it.
Nice.
But honestly, like, those points are really pretty easy to use. I feel like for most people, so I kind of
Yeah.
understand that. Like, that's why it's easy to recommend Chase, because if you're talking to someone who's not in the point and mile space, having that ability to either earn 3% cash back or 3x, it kind of takes the
Hmm.
pressure out of it for some of those new people.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I think a lot of people, like, in our ecosystem here on credit card, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, like, all, like, the credit card ecosystem on social media. That's what I
Mhm.
think gets missed a lot, is that, like, we're a very small subset of the actual a number of people in the US that hold credit cards. So what I try
Yeah.
to do with a lot of my content is, like, in everyday life, I'm constantly talking to friends and parents and, a bunch of people
Right.
that just need something really simple and something I can go to recommend, and that is Chase. Like, it just is, especially here in Texas, like I said, with all the partners that overlap with who we naturally travel with. But yeah, I think that's something
Yeah.
that gets forgotten a lot, is, like, credit cards aren't just for us, like, maximalists. Like, they're for everybody, and that's
Yeah.
why I tend to see myself leaning more towards them in everyday conversations too.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I really, so I have to talk to, I wanted to talk to you about Southwest actually a little bit, because you
Hmm.
mentioned the fact that you really enjoy kind of the value that you get from them. And I guess being where you are, it
Hmm.
makes really a lot of sense. And, for much of the last couple of years, I've really appreciated Southwest because from Orlando, we
Yeah.
can get pretty much nonstop flights to anywhere, which is
Hmm.
really kind of nice and luxurious if you think about it. What do you think about with the Southwest, the recent changes? Has that made you rethink how you fly or kind of what partners you think about when you try to fly?
It has. You know, it's funny. I actually like this week or yesterday, I signed up for Flighty Premium, which is like, you know, an app that a lot of us points and miles folks have heard of or like or
Yeah.
whatever. And I've heard so much good stuff about it. And I was like, you know, start of the year, I'm kind of, my whole credit card setup's changing. I wanted to start tracking all my trips and stuff like that too. So I downloaded that and I looked through, you know, added all my flights from 2023 on. And if you look at my transition over those years, in 2023, I did only Southwest flights. And that was like, you
Wow.
know, it
Okay.
was like 15 flights or something like that. I could even pull this up. But then over, you know, 2024 was my most like flying I've ever done in a single year. So I was bouncing around between a lot of different partners, including like, I mean, I took some international or one big international trip on like Air France and stuff like that. So
Oh
that
yeah,
threw
that's
it in the
right.
mix. But that's also whenever I got the Chase Sapphire Reserve for the first time. So that's when I started unlocking the points boost feature
Oh
that
yeah.
was useful. And I would use it with, you know, American Airlines, Delta, United, whoever just had the most value. And then 2025, more of the same kind of story. I have been diversifying more over time. However, again, I have a very hard time getting away from Southwest, and the reason
Mhm.
is because I have the companion pass. And the companion
Oh
pass, you
yeah.
can't, yeah, you just can't top that. Like I'm doubling the cent per point value I get on every Southwest flight effectively by just having that companion pass. So, you know, for me and my girlfriend to travel together, which is who I'm normally traveling with, it's either that or solo. Like I'm
Yeah.
getting double the value. So I always still look to Southwest first. And if I don't have any options there for domestic trips, I usually find myself leaning, well, either towards like Alaska, because I have a lot of points sitting there, or Atmos now,
Yeah.
to book American flights, or just the Chase Travel Portal because I get that guaranteed 1.5 still since I'm an existing Sapphire Reserve
Oh,
cardholder
that's
at the
right.
time
Yeah.
that the refresh happened. So I got 2 more years of, or I guess like, yeah, whatever, 1 more year of getting to experience that. So
That's
I guess, yeah,
awesome.
all that to say, I have transitioned to be a little bit more flexible, but at the end of the day, like I would rather fly Southwest still because I get just such great value. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have the priority card, or are you just kind of rocking it with the plus or the premier? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I got the performance business and the priority card at the end of, or I guess, yeah, whatever, end of 2024, going into 2025. Yeah, so I locked it in for the companion pass for 2025 and 2026.
Nice.
So this is my
That's
second
awesome.
year with it. Yeah, I canceled the performance business in October or something like that, November of this past year. So I got rid of that one because the annual fee's high. I don't use the benefits on it aren't worth it anymore, I don't
Right.
think. The priority card is still a questionable one. Like I think I could probably get away with just having like the plus, but I decided to, at least right now, I think I have like another month basically to decide what I want to do with that one. I'm thinking I'll just leave
Nice.
it as is and then maybe cancel later in the year because then I could technically do the companion pass again at the end of 2025 or
Oh
2026
yeah.
if
That
they
would
don't
be
change
nice.
anything. So
Yeah.
still
That's
rocking the
awesome.
priority for now, but yeah, only
Okay.
use it for benefits.
Nice. I mine was up for renewal this past July, and
Hmm.
somebody noticed that my audio was a little bit lower, so I did boost my audio up a little bit. So let me know in the comment section if that still needs to be adjusted. But so I had the priority card, and it re-upped in July for the 150 or the regular annual fee. And I called them and I was like, hey, like I want to cancel this card, and they actually gave me a statement credit for the 150. So they covered it. So, maybe that could help you out a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think the thing that I really am thinking about with Southwest about keeping the priority card is if it's worth it to try to wait for the upgrade to the extra legroom seats, or if I should just use more points and book the seats directly. What's
Yeah.
your thinking on that?
I mean, that's a really good question. This is kind of all stuff that I'm going to be figuring out throughout this year, obviously, because we don't, like, I've never experienced having to access these new benefits until January or,
Yeah.
yeah, until now, basically. And I haven't flown Southwest yet this year, but I'm not 100% sure on that yet. Like, I'm big on like effective annual fee calculations and all of that. And
Right.
that's where that decision comes into play, where I don't think I would necessarily pay for extra legroom. Again, I don't know because I haven't been on these planes yet how bad it really is and whether it would be worth the extra points or the extra cash to do that. And then
Yeah.
I could assign value to that credit on the priority or not. But
Gotcha.
I don't think I need it. I'll put it that way. I don't think I need the priority card at all. I'm only keeping
Yeah.
it because whatever, I'll pay one more annual fee. And the question then becomes like if I was to get a retention offer, does that even matter? Because if I need to get the companion pass again, I would
Oh,
need to
right.
get a welcome offer again, and you can only do that
That's
every
true.
2 years. But I have seen the
Okay.
performance business offer good enough welcome offers to cover the companion pass in one go. So that might be the new strategy, depending on if they change it by the end of this year. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know, honestly, with the extra leg room, but I want that. I want to experience that. So whatever, I'll
Yeah.
pay the premium for a year.
Awesome. So my wife and I, we flew to San Juan on Southwest. And we ended up actually using it for we sat it in, we weren't able to actually get the extended legroom seats on the first one, so we were in the shorter legroom seats, and they were fine, it just, you can't like work in those seats, like you can't pull out a laptop or anything.
I guess I didn't realize they already had those planes in like functioning in, well, that was like November, right?
Yeah, they have a specific routes that they've opened up, and kind of, I think it's supposed to be by middle of this year. They're supposed to roll it out to the entire fleet by now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, so we were able to see it. It was definitely nicer. It's very similar to like Delta, Comfort Plus, or whatever the thing is. So it's kind of the same product.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that's the thing, is I'll keep testing it, like I said, this year, and I'll pay the premium to experience it and just like, kind of report on how I feel about it. And hopefully I'll be able to get the companion pass again, just locked in with like the performance business at the end of this year, if they have an elevated offer. Yeah. And then maybe I'll keep that personal card open. I'm really not sure at this point. It might still be worth churning both of them just for another couple, 100,000 Southwest miles. So we'll see.
Yeah. Awesome. So we actually, somebody's asking if this is a live or a premiere. So point taken. So of course, one of the great things about being part of a live is actually to talk to the community. So now that we have about 12 minutes now of talking about Chase points and kind of how we've been able to get value from them, I guess we can go ahead and turn to our comment section, which is actually kind of prolific today. So we won't get a chance to get through all of them. Let me see if we can so Mad Matt has been here for a while. He's awesome. Dim is also regular as well. Jordy is here. Jordan is here. Thanks so much for being here, Jordan. But yeah, I'm so glad that hopefully Jordan had a great honeymoon. I know last time we talked, he was actually about to leave for that, and so hopefully it was
he's
good.
back now.
Yeah, right. Hopefully, right. Hopefully you're not by the pool just on our lives.
Yeah.
And so Dim says he used your link and was approved for a Palladium. Nice,
yeah.
I applied for a
these
Palladium
cards apparently, but I got the Palladium as well. I love it.
Yeah,
hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the way to think about it is it's functionally a 3.25x if you get option 1, 3.3x if you get option 2. It's functionally. Yeah. Yeah, per dollar spent. And so that's, that's not bad. Now, would it be worth, I think, on a continuing yearly basis to pay for that annual fee just for a catch-all card? I don't know if I would, but,
That's the question of the Venture X, right? I mean, that's right. Why I've been complaining about the Venture X for so long.
Yeah.
The big difference that I've seen is, especially like, I think, if you extrapolate out like the actual value of the points too, with that, like 3.3x Bilt points is effectively like at a 2.2 cent per point valuation. That's a 7.3% cash return on spend for every dollar you spend. That's ridiculous. A Venture X, for example, at 2x, 2 cents per point is 4% cash rate of return. So yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't just have a Palladium for the catch-all purpose, but since you're incentivized to spend on it, I'm glad that we're getting a good amount of rewards, and I'll use the credits to offset the fee. So
that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. I might end up in a similar situation down the line where, I'm saying the same thing about the Palladium that I did about that I do about the Venture X, where it does feel like I'm just trying to scrape back value for a catch-all card. So we'll see. I mean, that's what the point of trying it out for a year and getting a welcome offer and all that is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the welcome offers are pretty awesome. Yeah. So awesome. Dem says, great video on the initial rollout. Screw the haters.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people with some big emotions. Let's see. Philmo is here. Thanks so much for being here. And we also have Stinky Monkey Baby, who's been quite prolific recently as well, saying that Bilt 2.0 stinks, but I stand by Spencer that he's honest about his valuations. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the support. I know I haven't actually looked at the comments to be completely transparent, aside from the members, but there's been a lot of support as well that's come from this. So a lot of negativity, but also, an abundant amount of support. So I can't thank you all enough for that. Yeah,
absolutely. Matt basically backing that up, saying Spencer is always 100% honest. That's awesome. Then we have we have a new member. Swartz King is a new member, so thanks so much. Appreciate you. And let's see. Imagine using a Wells Fargo Autograph, City Strata Premier, and Elite. All right.
Interesting combo. Yeah. Could work out well.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see. Dim saying earn more with Amex, but City is my gardening setup. TBD now with Bilt. Yeah. City is not a bad setup, which I guess we can probably kind of go into that next a little bit. Do you have any City cards right now?
Yeah, so I talked about on, I guess, Monday's video. It feels like ages ago at this point with everything that's changed. But I talked about my new wallet setup before, obviously introducing the Palladium into the mix. But I am transitioning a bit more of my spend back to earning City thank you points. So earlier last year, I got rid of like all my City points, and so I'm trying to build that stash back up now that they have American Airlines, because that was before they introduced that, of course. So I have the City Strata Premier in my wallet now that I'm using for like all non-Costco, non-Whole Foods, like grocery spend, basically. Nice. I might even use it for Whole Foods at some point. But so yeah, basically all like my HEB spend here in Texas. So that's what I use this card for. And then I think I'll actually switch my gas to it too, because I have my custom cash that's set up for my gym purchases right now at 5% every month. So I'm starting to build some more momentum in the City ecosystem, and I think that they are very similar to Chase, one of the most flexible currencies, because they give you that cash out rate as well at that full 1 cent per point. Travel Portal is obviously not as, it's only 1 cent per point there, so nothing special. But with the introduction of American Airlines, it makes it really simple for a lot of people to get value. So like now, in again, everyday life, I'm talking to a lot of people who are like, I only fly American. Like, how do I earn points with them? And it's like, well, there's only one setup that'll do that for you.
That's true.
Straight up.
Yeah.
So City is it's a great ecosystem to be in, I think, right now, if you can get into it. And I don't know about you, Philip, but it's not the easiest ecosystem to continue in.
They are not the best. I only have one card, and what's weird is it actually was a balance transfer card that I was targeted for 4 years ago. The Diamond Preferred is what it initially was, and then they product changed me on their side to the Rewards Plus card. Which the Rewards Plus card, it was a great card, but as far as the only City card you have, not so good, right?
Right.
So I ended up actually converting that to a custom cash, and now it lives on as a City Strata Premier. So.
Gotcha. And are you using that one consistently? I know we talked about that one in my in the live that you came on my channel, but how are you using that one?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm actually kind of preferring that right now, just because we actually find ourselves using. So when my wife and we fly to DC at least once per year, sometimes twice, and with that, from Orlando to DCA is actually a pretty competitive route, because you can do Southwest directly, you can do JetBlue, Delta, and American. All have nonstop flights multiple times through the day. So we actually have been using our American Airlines miles for that, because they've actually been a little bit more valuable, a little bit easier to use than Delta or even our Southwest points, because, well, my wife got a taste of first class, and so now we're not really Southwest people so much anymore. Yeah,
you've ruined her. That's what I took my girlfriend to Italy this year in business class, and it's like I've only ever been to Europe in business class too because of the points of miles. So we're both just spoiled, and I'm like, oh God, what have I created here?
Yeah. I was actually talking. When I went to go visit Anthony, I was talking to Daniel Sparks, and he was saying, man, why are you even into this credit card game? And I was like, dude, do you realize how happy everyone is in your life when you get them business class seats?
Yeah. I mean,
it's worth it,
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole point of it is like you get to make memories with your loved ones you wouldn't be able to do in cash, really. Like you get to cosplay as a rich person, basically, which is it's who doesn't want to do that, for free, and spend you're already doing.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Like, I mean, even just sitting in like an actual airline lounge that's designed to be loungy and for nice people, like it's just a world of difference, honestly. But yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So we do that. But I actually started despite the fact that the dining category is insane for me right now, right? So I have my Saver card. I got the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I have the City Strata Premier. I have the Gold card, and now the Carrot card is actually one of my 3% categories. Is the dining, and so I actually started using the City Strata Premier because I'd rather earn 3x in either I prefer points or with American, and so. And I was looking at some of those hotels, and like the I Prefer program is really huge. Like I was looking at even in Orlando, there's some hotels here that are like $600-700 a night, and you can get them for like 12,000 city points a night. It's stupid.
ridiculous. Yeah. If you have the ability to use that program, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It is amazing. And so like, yeah, it is kind of crazy because Anthony and I guess it was last week or 2 weekends ago, we were talking about how like 100,000 point trips. And so I was looking at a couple different destinations, and it is hard. Like in Atlanta, there was one hotel and I prefer. And so it's like, okay, Atlanta's a pretty big city to only have one hotel in, but
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Austin only has one as well, which is kind of annoying, but yeah.
Oh, wild. Yeah. Okay. That is interesting.
Yeah, I've looked into it. And it's also like not in the city. So I think it's one of those case by case things. Like I think some people love to just chase the highest cent per point value, which is completely fine, but you might be stretching yourself a little bit depending on what city you're heading into to get that high value. And that's kind of like a judgment call with you, is like, is that worth it or not?
100%. 100%. I think now I know you had mentioned it, but I'm not sure if I think with City, they actually just recently changed their cash redemptions if it's with the City Strata Premier.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. People always bring that up, and I forget about this. So like
it's kind of a weird rule.
Yeah. So for you, for example, it does impact you a lot. Like you couldn't cash out at 1 cent per point because you only have the Strata Premier. But since I have the City Custom Cash, one of their cash branded cards, it hasn't changed for me because I just cash out the points through the Custom Cash instead of the Strata Elite or Strata Premier. So effectively, if you have like a double cash or custom cash, to my understanding, unless they've changed it even further, I've looked at it recently and it was fine. As long as I access my thank you points through the custom cash, just like you would with any Chase card or whatever, where you're like, if I need to transfer out, I'll access my points through the preferred. Same thing. Do it through the custom cash, and you should get the same cash out rate.
Nice.
But if not, it's 0.75 or something like that.
That's an awesome little hack. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Cool. All right. So we have, let's see, we talked about Mad Matt being here.
Oh, let's go. Remember.
John Cutter, Southwest is my oldest card and my easiest to fly with in the Midwest. Yeah. That's really solid too. I love that. Filmo, you actually have the closest thing to a concession. I love Chase UR points, just hate the cards. So.
Yeah. I mean, I completely get it. That's why what a lot of people should be doing, and I know it's getting more difficult, would be to, like I've kind of always played this game, like is play the welcome offer game, right? Like constantly be doing that instead of like funneling all of your spend through Chase cards. Everyday people, again, if we're just talking about people in my normal life, they don't care about 2x versus 1.5x, so the cards are great for them. But for people like us, it's like that's where the ink cards have been so big. Like I've earned, probably 500,000 points from ink offers alone. Like just welcome offers, not mentioning any kind of spend on my personal cards or, referrals is a whole nother game. But just like in general, you can earn a lot from welcome offers with Chase. And it's getting harder, but I think it's still possible because all these languages are like maybe ineligible and stuff like that. And I've heard a lot of data points already about people just still being able to constantly work through them. So
and I think that's the case because with Amex, like, everyone's kind of afraid of the once per lifetime language, right? But with that said, I earned 1.2 million Amex points last year, and tomorrow I will earn 300,000. So,
gosh, that's crazy.
So you can definitely get more and more sign-up bonus. You just got to kind of play the game a little bit.
Yeah. I got a little inside scoop for some. If I don't know if I should let it go now, but I am going to be earning a lot of Amex points myself very soon. I made a little move yesterday as well with that. So
nice, good job. There you go. Yeah. And of course, if you want to learn more about what Spencer just hinted at, you can actually go over to his channel, make sure you're subscribed. You probably already are because he's so much bigger than I am. But also make sure you hit that bell icon so you get that notification. So I want to see that video when it comes out.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be like a week from Monday would be when that one comes out. So,
okay. Nice. Yeah. All right. Chad's Money Minutes is here. Thanks so much for being here, Chad. You're awesome. Boxer is also here. He's a great friend of the channel as well. Let's see. There was actually a really cool couple comments that I'm just going to look for here. Sorry.
Yeah, no, trust me, I understand the grind. When they're all there, it is so hard to see.
It is. I just wanted to say thank you so much for Charvicio. So Charvicio has become a commenter over the last couple months, I think, maybe, or weeks. Basically, they're really good at these hot takes. They're just like, it gets me thinking about stuff. So I love the comments. So faking rich is the goal. Kind of like it's better than if you can't be rich, you can at least fake it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's also yeah. Jarvis is a channel member of mine, and yeah, you're right. He's good at leaving some like kind of controversial comments, but
Yeah.
effectively, I would say that the goal for the credit card game, yeah, that kind of is the goal. Is like you get to live like the rich on points. Like you're obviously not
Right.
getting rich fully off of credit cards. You're getting rich in
Right.
experiences, but you're not going to become a millionaire off of credit card points. Like that's just not how that works. So yes,
Yeah.
in this situation, but you can become rich in your other life if you want to, and then
Yeah.
take it from there. But yeah,
Pretty
in the
much,
credit card
yeah.
game, that's what we're all doing. Let's not pretend.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's always funny whenever I hear Dave Ramsey talk about credit cards. He's always like, "Oh, you're never going to get wealthy out of credit cards." Like that's not the point. But
No, exactly.
Yeah.
We're like talking in parallel.
Exactly
conversations
right.
here.
Yeah. Juan is here. Thanks so much for being here. Stacy's Travels and Points is here. 61 watching and only 15 likes. Yeah, please hit that like button if you could. That'd be awesome. And Jordan's here. Facts. Traveling like and staying at resorts with rich people is a cool feeling. Secretly being poor in comparison to everyone around you makes you feel very smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a couple reactions, but did you want to respond to this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like right there with them. I sometimes kind of have to like, I look around when I'm at these resorts and stuff like that. I'm like, man, these people actually paid out of pocket, or like people on business class
Yeah.
flights. Like you paid $10,000 for this flight. Like that is crazy. Like I'll pay whatever, $1,500 in effective points, but I'm no way I'd be paying $10,000 for this. So I do feel really smart in those situations, being like, oh, that's so cool. I got to do this. Also, I think for a lot of us too, like for me, and I'm sure Jordan as well, like you too, probably Phillip, whenever you've started getting into this game, like it's also usually like the wealthiest people are a lot older. So like whenever I
That's true.
walk into like a first class and on a plane and I'm, by far the youngest person there, it's kind of like, this feels really weird, but also like kind of cool. Like I feel smart. Yeah. Like Jordan said.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's there is such there is a good point to being kind of in those rooms, right? So when I lived in Washington D.C., I worked at the Capitol Hill Club as a bartender, and being in a room of people like just that so much more wealthier than I will ever be. Just the knowledge that they had about the world and everything is like being exposed to that was also really good. And so like when my wife and I, our first trip that we did with points was to the Waldorf Astoria in Orlando. And so it was kind of a staycation, but being able to stay there, in a really expensive, nice room and have exposure to all these people that are on vacation from doing real jobs where, the Waldorf can be your vacation. It's like, it's really cool. We had a lot of really cool conversations in the lounge and stuff. It was really awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. I resonate with that a lot. Like the bars at the, the really nice hotel you're in and stuff like that. Like I've had some really interesting conversations with folks in there. So it's a good time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hasamidi, after a decade loyalty to Chase with Sapphire Reserve, Freedom Unlimited, and Inc. Preferred, shifted spend off Chase, focusing on Strat Elite, Double Cash for AA, and now Bilt Palladium for Atmos, JAL, and Hyatt. Wow. Okay. That is kind of a substantial change. What do you think about that?
I think a lot of people are kind of, wanting to maybe getting a little bit cooped up in their current strategies and wanting to change. And whenever you have a lender like Citi come in and start offering, a partner like American Airlines or just things that you hadn't really considered before, like it kind of like opens up a new world and makes you excited about this game again. I think that's one part of this that you've seen a lot of people transitioning away from like Chase to other lenders. And I completely get that. Yeah, and then obviously I think Bilt as a program, like I want to have more points with them. Like it's just, for points and miles is really the cream of the crop. So I understand that move completely. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, having strict loyalty to Chase has never been my like MO. Like I'm not like I'm blindly loyal to Chase. You should be getting cards from all lenders and taking advantage of all of this. Like I've earned way more Amex points probably over time than I have Chase. But I'm, even though I'm a Chase fanboy, I'm still getting cards from everywhere. That's kind of the point.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Like that. Yeah, just because you prefer Chase points doesn't mean you're not earning Amex points or anything else. In fact, actually, there's an interesting kind of anecdote. So my wife and I were going to be traveling to Washington this next summer, and we're actually traveling with her parents. And so I'm just trying to get them into the credit card game there of the kind of more Dave Ramsey situation where they actually like, they just had to check to make sure I wasn't like driving our family into debt with all the credit cards. But so we finally got them into a venture card, and they ended up, I think it was the 75,000 point thing, and they've actually been spending pretty regularly on it. And so they were like, we want to use our points to go. And so I was, we were actually planning on flying into Dulles originally. So I was checking Air Canada for United flights from Orlando to Dulles, and getting there was easy, right? That was 30,000 points for both of them for that one-way trip, which, you know, it would have been a lot cheaper if they had United points, but, you know, Capital One miles are less valuable because of stuff like that, you know? But the only problem is if we wanted to fly back, they would have to either leave, like they'd have to leave it at midnight in Dulles and then do a connection and then arrive in Orlando like at 5 a.m. or something. And so we had to kind of change gears. And so we actually ended up flying, like we were going to fly out of DCA back. So, you know, about probably 40-minute drive and back. And so because I also had my city points, I was also able to be like, okay, we can still do that on points for us. And then they can use their, they ended up transferring to British Airways to book American. But because we were able to book directly, we did save a little bit of points. And so having access to multiple ecosystems is kind of a good way to hedge your bets a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the, you know, points diversity. The topic of points diversity has been one that I've been passionate about for a long time. And obviously the extent to which you do diversify is completely dependent on how much you're willing to manage and how much effort you're willing to put into learning how to use these points. But it's the most rewarding way to play the game, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So Gunna Diver is here. So have some more people really liking what you're saying. So that's awesome. Juan, so you're not as shill as others may think. Bilt invited you to their product launch and you gave your honest feedback. We respect the content you bring. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like, you know, we see this all the time with tech reviews and things like this, where like it's pretty common for a lot of these companies to invite people out to kind of see the product in kind of an in-person thing. So you can actually talk to people, and you actually did, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's definitely something that most credit card companies haven't done because they haven't really been friendly to credit card creators that much.
No, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and so it seems like if they had offered for that to me, I'd be like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's like the reason I really wanted to be there was because I knew I'd get first access for my community to see these cards like that. I mean, I'm like that's my job, you know, is to report on these things. And yeah, I really, exactly. I mean, I was surprised to like hear how many people were like really upset about that video, because I thought I just laid out clearly what these cards were offering and then what I'm doing about it, which is what I've always done on my channel. Nothing's changing. They didn't change my opinion by me going out to their event. Like actually we were there talking about all of the negatives to them about their cards, and you can see they've already made some changes because of it. And like I've never been told what I can and cannot say about those cards. That's never going to change. And that's why I've never taken sponsors from card companies, anything like that, because I just want to talk about what I want to talk about, and they are very open to that, and that's what I did. So
exactly, and honestly, like you know, not to sound like too much of a show myself, but you know, they weren't that good at actually announcing the information in the first like couple of hours, and so so I learned everything I needed to know about the card by watching you. So thank you for that.
I mean, I think, you know, in a lot of ways, what probably happened is just the fact that since I was like the one person that had a video out about this stuff, people were just addressing all of their hate towards Bilt at me because I was kind of like the only spokesperson, I guess, out there. Even that's not, I was just reporting, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's the internet.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have a lot of big kind of feelings and about this card, which is really interesting because, you know, I just didn't really, if I had to pick one credit card that I would have thought would have been able to dominate the space for multiple days, I don't know if I would have picked the Bilt card.
Yeah, I mean, people just have really strong opinions about it, I guess. I don't know. My whole like kind of thesis in general though on those cards is like, I think if Bilt 1.0 technically, like if that card if it didn't exist and they launched Bilt 2.0, everybody would be absolutely in love. But since, you know, the renters got something kind of taken away, it really left a bad taste in their mouth, which I understand. But you know, for people that have mortgages or people that have never been exposed to Bilt before, like this is only positive for them. So I don't know. I think it's just like, it comes down to just like every other card, do the math for yourself. If it's going to work for you, get it. If not, don't. And then if you really feel the need to hate on somebody for an opinion about credit cards, like I need to reevaluate a little bit, but that's just my take.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. Let's see. There was a really good question from Boxer. Do you guys know if using the Ink Cash for buying from Starlink will trigger the 5x multiplier? Do you have any knowledge on this?
I don't. I actually set my family up with Starlink because they live in the middle of nowhere. here in Texas, and I've never tried I would imagine so because they're an internet provider. I would imagine it would work, but
Yeah,
I'm not
I
sure.
would
There might
assume
be
so.
data points online, but
I
no
actually kind
personal
of looked
experience.
into getting one because every once in a while we live in an older part of Orlando, and so if the wind blows, we lose something, power, internet, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I actually looked into getting it, and it wasn't cost effective for me, but it seems cool.
Yeah, I actually ended up getting for everybody that was an existing Starlink customer, which my parents were, I guess technically. They gave out the basically free hardware for the little roam package that I could basically bring like on
Oh
my
yeah,
van for like van trips. So
that's
that's like
cool.
really cool, and I can activate it for like I think it stays active for like $5 a month just by having like paying
Yeah.
that. But then whenever you want to activate it, it's whatever the $70 or $100 for that month, and I'm excited to test that out for like road trips because we love road tripping. We do that more than flying.
Yeah, exactly. That would be really helpful, especially when you're traveling and stuff. Like just having reliable internet no matter where you are is really important. LG, thanks so much for being here, LG. LG also a friend of the channel. What's up, fellas? Never tried Bilt, but was approved for the $95 card. I have a mortgage. Do I have to have the card, or can I use a different card to earn points?
Yeah, you can, I mean, to my understanding, you can use whatever card you want to technically through Bilt's payment processing, but you'll pay a transaction fee. So that's the whole point of the Bilt cards, right? Is that you can use them to not pay a transaction fee and still earn points. Granted, now there's a whole Bilt cash system where you have to spend on the cards in order to kind of offset what would be a fee, I guess technically. But regardless, yeah, you can use whatever card you want to through Bilt's payment processor, not through your Bilt 2.0 card. You just have to pay a 3% fee. So that's what a lot of people do, like to hit welcome offers, is they'll use other cards to pay for their rent or mortgage and eat that fee in order to get a higher return through a welcome offer. So
Yeah. I've seen a couple of people in my comments actually, no, I don't know if it's in this video, asking about if you can use your Bilt Cash, if you pick the initial option, can you use that Bilt Cash to go towards covering the fee for using a different card? Do you know?
no, yeah, you
Okay.
can't. Yeah, that was
All
one
right,
of their
cool.
like FAQs that I mentioned in my video because that was something that we were all asking them about. Like, 'cause,
Right, yeah.
that'd be a great way to earn some extra points, but I guess that would kind of cannibalize their competitive advantage with their cards. So yeah, you can't do that, unfortunately.
That's true. Yeah. Tyler's credit card tips is also here. Thanks so much, Tyler. He is awesome. We had him a couple of weeks ago, and he has some really great points, actually. Let's see here. Mike Newland, also a friend of the channel. Thanks for being here. Does the imposter syndrome feeling go away with time?
Imposter syndrome, I guess, in what regard? Like, just what do
That's
you
a good
think?
question. I think probably so from my perspective, I read it as like, okay, like I used to just be a regular person talking about credit cards and stuff. And I guess probably because I'm so much newer as a channel, like, wait a minute, it's kind of weird when people are like, oh, what do you think about this? I'm like, I'm just, I'm not too far away from just being a regular guy talking about credit cards, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like, at the end of the day, I think that's I mean, my stance on that hasn't changed throughout my whole journey. Like I've always said, like I'm just documenting my personal experience through this game. Like that's what I started the channel with. That's what I'll continue doing forever. Because I mean, nobody can take that away from me. That's all I can speak on with full confidence, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
like,
in a lot of ways, like that's how I've kind of maybe battled the imposter syndrome because I know I'm not speaking anything that isn't true to me,
Right.
But
Yeah.
it is kind of weird having all the other eyeballs on it and then all these comments. Like that stuff is weird, but
Yeah.
it's just I signed up for it. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I think the first time I ever felt like the imposter syndrome was I was on Anthony's Discord channel and I was just scrolling up through the comments and other people were talking about me. And I was like,
Oh, yeah.
that was the first time that I'd ever seen that. I was like, this is so weird. But
Yeah, it's wild, right? I mean, it's a blessing though. We get to do this all as a community. I kind of think of myself as more of like, well, one, like I said, documenting my journey, but also I get to have a location for everybody else to come converse, and then that helps build all of our knowledge bases together, which I think is cool. So I'm kind of just like the voice for my community or whatever, which is fun to kind of position like that.
yeah,
Take some of
exactly.
the stress off.
Yeah. And online debate camp, actually, I love that. I love that handle. That's awesome. Uncle Luke was defending you pretty fiercely on his live. That's awesome. I love Uncle
Yeah.
Luke.
He's great. I had a call with him yesterday and stuff, and yeah, like I said, a ton of support that I really can't say thank you enough for. But Yeah, it's really, at the end of the day, like this stuff, I really don't pay attention to the hate on this. Like, it's a weird thing to be like that emotional about, I think. So I just kind of distance myself from it.
Yeah. All right. So I definitely will probably take one more comment about Bilt, and then we'll try to move on to the initial topic of the video. Bruce D. Richards saying 24 hours post Bilt 2.0.1 update. Actually, I like that name a lot better than mine. Do you think option 1 or 2 is better? Blue Cash seems like a worthless currency, or maybe Bilt Cash seems like a worthless currency to accumulate, but it might grow or not be so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that I've personally been thinking about it is what we talked about, we're at the beginning of this Bilt 2.0 topic, is like I'm using these cards to give me an effective I'm using the Palladium to give me an effective 3.33x Bilt points per dollar on all spend. And I guess I'm using that towards, the earning Bilt points or accepting my rent points. So I guess I don't know what version that is. I guess option 1 or the original option. But to me, like I just can't beat that. I can't beat an effective 7.3% cash return on spend for every dollar I spend. I'm not going to do that anywhere else. So
yeah.
I think the other one was really just given to people to help them feel like it was simpler, maybe. I have to look into it more, but
functionally, I think it's about the same thing. I think it just, without the, it read to me like one of those freemium games where you have to have gold and then gems, and like it was complicated.
That's the biggest issue, and one of the biggest downside that I've said, and again, even in the video that people were hating on, apparently the big downside I said is that they're making it complicated, which is I think actually benefits gamers because we'll be able to take advantage of it, but everyday people are not going to understand how this works, and that's a big negative because they're trying to reach everybody that has a mortgage or rent, and it's like, but you're making it so complicated that they're going to be making the money probably on the back end. And that's how a business works, first of all, guys. Like, let's not pretend again. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't like the complexity, but I'm going to find a way to get value from it. Like that's my job. So,
right. Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Okay. So we talked a little bit about Chase points. We talked a little bit about City points, American Express points. How easy is it for you to get value from them?
Yeah. So I guess I maybe could have even started with this, but let's see. So I talked about how Chase is kind of like my domestic airlines and stuff like that because it works either. I don't actually transfer to any domestic airlines from them. I have Southwest miles direct, from the cards, which is nice, from welcome offers and stuff. So
nice.
Chase is more domestic economy trips in general, booking through the portal or transferring to Hyatt. Amex, on the other hand, is almost solely reserved for the high class international flights for my situation. So I get a ton of value from Amex points. Like it's actually my highest valued currency, technically, by the way, that I've redeemed over the past 2 years. But that's because I'm reserving them for those high class trips. So like my average cent per point for Amex last year was like 3.45 or something like that.
Wow, that's awesome.
Compared to Chase was like 1.8 or something like that. And it's like, that's a big difference, but it's just how it's how I choose to use them. So
nice.
Yeah, Amex points really easy to earn, like you talked about. Like for the most part, I mean, I've been in pop-up jail for years on the personal side, but business, I've had a lot more luck.
Same.
So I've earned a lot of points. Use those welcome offers for big trips, and then every once in a while, I'll do like a Hilton redemption if there's either a transfer bonus or just a really high value Hilton property, like a one that's already giving you close to 1 cent per point with Hilton Direct, and I can transfer from Amex at a 1 to 2 to make my Amex points worth close to 2 cents per point or whatever. Like that's how I would also consider using them. But yeah, I guess easy to use, but for a very different purpose. And that's why I kind of keep Chase and Amex as 1A and 1B because I need both with the ways that I travel.
I like that. Yeah. 1A and 1B. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. So like it's kind of funny because I've kind of had some bad uses of American Express points where like I cashed out some points because I have the business platinum card and the business checking account, and so that's actually how I got this mic because I wasn't happy with the other mic situations. So I was like, let's just figure it out.
Yep.
So I made a couple of bad things there. I actually did when I was booking my trip to Paris last December. I actually did use some Amex points to just top up. I think it was like 6,000 Marriott points for a stay that I needed. So that was also bad. But then on the other side, like there's a lot really, really good ones. Like I got 4 cents per point with a Virgin business class redemption. And then I got 8 cents per point with a Air France class business class redemption.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that's just because, that's also cherry picking one ways, to be clear, but it's a nice, sexy number. So
Right. I mean, yeah, that's the thing is like I really like average Semper points, right? Like that's the beauty of the credit card game is if you have a time where you need to cash out some points, you're going to buy some Christmas gifts for somebody and you'd rather not hurt your wallet as much, you can cash out some Chase points or whatever to use for that, of course, with a plan going forward. And then whenever you're traveling a lot more, you shift more of your travel or your redemption habits towards that. Like I think being flexible is really good. And then the average is what you really care about at the end of the year, right? Like that's true. That's where you want to keep pretty high. But
yeah, and I love that video where you like kind of like talked about like how you valued each of the point currency. That's kind of why I wanted to have this topic about that, because you really did a good job of kind of getting into the nitty gritty and figuring out, okay, which one is actually more valuable to me. Yeah. One thing that I kind of was surprised though is most of my high dollar value redemptions have been with Virgin and with Air France, and it got me thinking because, well, I used my Amex points because I had them because it was easy to get those sign up bonuses and everything like that. But like I could have used anything. I could have used Chase points. I could have even used Capital One points, Wells Fargo points, whatever they call those. And so it got me thinking like, okay, why do I like Amex so much? And it used to be because of Hilton, right? Hilton at 1 to 2 was nice. But lately, some of those redemptions have been less than stellar. We'll just say. So I gotta say, like, I mean, I don't know if I really would count Amex as maybe being my first, as far as the redemption side. I mean, I've gotten by far the best value out of it, but there's nothing that special about how I've done it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I get that. That's kind of one of my core theses. Is just like, I mean, at the end of the day, what you really need to be focusing on in this transfer partner game, like I'll start with this. You can get the same value basically from any transferable currency, depending on the partner you're using, right? So you really need to be focusing more so on the unique transfer partners that each one has. So that's why we always, harp on Chase having Hyatt, for example, or me like saying it has Southwest, or Amex having like ANA specifically, and I guess like Delta and Hilton would be their other competitive ones. Citi has American Airlines. Like those are the ones that you really need to focus on because you can do all the international stuff with any of these currencies. So that's kind of how I think about them, is like just what are the unique partnerships that matter to me. And Amex really doesn't have that, which is why I use them for the high class international trips, because I earn a lot of their points, so I can redeem a lot for those high class trips effectively.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I'm learning from the master over here. Yeah, that's awesome. We do have a couple of super chats, so I do want to make sure we're covering that. We actually have 3, so thank you so much. So Dim was saying the 1.25x option, going back to Bilt, doesn't reward big spenders. It flatlines after you exceed your mortgage payment. Interesting. Okay. What do you think about that?
1.25x option doesn't reward big spenders. I mean, I would have to like look at the math, honestly. I think that's one of the biggest things here is that we have to like have real concrete numbers that we're using as examples here.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, I believe you that there's probably, I would believe you, Dim. I'd have to look into it further. I can't give a firm answer on it, I guess.
Yeah, so I think so. I get what he's talking about. So that 3.3x or whatever it is on the Palladium card, it only exists until you hit your rent or your mortgage spend. And then it just goes back to being a 2x card, which, could be still helpful, right?
Yeah. 2x plus 4% Bilt cash still, because you'd be earning extra Bilt cash, which you could then use for just normal like Lyft rides or hotel stays or whatever. Yeah. Right.
Exactly. Although on the Lyft front, I think Frequent Miler reported, and I'm not sure if it's actually still true. They said that it looked like you'd only be able to actually use $10 a month for Bilt Cash to redeem for Lyft rides.
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but it was true at some point in the last couple of days when Frequent Miler reported it.
There's going to be so many changes until the 7th and everything. Yeah. Like they're going to keep iterating. They even, I mean, I've heard that they're planning on changing like probably 4 or 5 things, and by the time like they're expecting that to happen. What I will say here is I think I just kind of realized the debate here. So what you're talking about, like what we just said, that 3.3x. And then plus the Bilt cash after that fact, like that's option 1, right? So like once you hit, it wouldn't be 1.25x, it would be up to 1x. Right, the 1.25x option is more strict, assuming that you will not earn any Bilt cash by choosing that option, which I agree with. Because you would be more rewarded with option 1 as a big spender than option 2, because you would be capped, like he's saying. So I agree with that.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, and then we got another super chat from John Cutter. Thanks so much for being here. Oh, interesting. Do cruises have any value in these ecosystems, earning and/or redeeming trips? That's a good question. We don't really talk a lot about cruises that much.
No, I tuned into Joe Beretto's live stream. I guess it was like Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And they were talking about cruises a lot in that one. And I honestly, like, I've never really looked into cruises at all. I guess the value in these ecosystems that I can think of from transferable currencies would be like the Chase portal, I think, has cruises in there that I think you would maybe be able to book with the boost. But other than that, I don't really know how it would fit in necessarily.
Yeah, as far as the redeeming, yeah, you're definitely right. It's I think you can actually, so it's not technically points, but I think you can actually book cruises through Expedia, which would mean that one key cash could be a part of it if you wanted to earn that. But then again, that's just basically cash back with just more steps. And then, well, there's the Virgin cruises, Virgin Voyages, which are actually, they are kind of expensive for the cruises. Like my wife and I, we were actually looking at a cruise. It was a 10-night Mediterranean cruise, and it was like, I think it was like 550,000 points or something. Yeah, which is a crazy amount. But when you think about like a 40% bonus, it becomes a little bit less, more like 300 something thousand.
And for 10 nights, that's not that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for 10 nights on a cruise,
30,000 points a night.
Exactly. And that covers two people in that cruise. And so, when you think about it in that sense, yeah, like these Virgin Voyages kind of make sense from a points perspective. And they actually have them all around the world. Like there's a bunch of Caribbean ones as well, and stuff like that, which is really helpful. But that's pretty much really the only one you can use points directly from the big banks to actually book, which is kind of weird. You think that the other cruises would be in on it, especially since, airlines are not shy about reporting how much they make just from bank deals.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in the past, it's always been like, well, if you want to, someone would be like, oh, I want to do a princess cruise. Like, how do I, earn points or whatever for that? And it's kind of like, I mean, cashbacks might be your best bet here. Like even their cards, they only earn basically effectively cashback. So, but yeah, there definitely are methods that I'm sure we aren't as experienced in maybe as some others. Cause like I said, Joe Beretto's live, which y'all could obviously check out as well. They talked a lot about cruise rewards, maybe more status and stuff like that too, but always happy to learn more about that, even though I'm not doing them right now.
Yeah. And then we have, let's see, I think this is the last super chat. So we're going to get into this. Yep. Polygraph Zone, great show so far. Got you going in the background in my office at HQ. Having explained points and miles to some of the other people here is funny. That's awesome.
Dude, that's a classic. I didn't even like really tell people about like what I did whenever I was working, a normal job and all that. And they found out later, and it's like, it's just like such a unique hobby that we have, but obviously very rewarding if you do it right.
Yeah, it is kind of funny because like it really shows you how different your brain is when you're into points and mile space. Like, so I was talking to my boss, actually, he was planning a trip to Italy. And I was thinking, oh yeah, you could probably go from JFK to here and like do this, and he's like, oh, I don't have any points. I'm like, oh well, I can't help you.
That's great. Yeah, jeez. That's always the most frustrating thing is like trying to talk to people about it, and they're just like, they don't even use their card for everything. Or for example, like they're just like, oh yeah, I only use it for emergencies or something like that. And you're like, wait, what? We're playing a completely different game with these credit cards here.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Exactly. 100%. Let's see here. Okay, so we're talking about a little bit about Amex and kind of the value we get. Let's see. The next one that we haven't talked about yet. Let's see. Is Capital One. Let's talk about Capital One. Do you have any Capital One cards?
So I have the Venture X right now.
Okay.
That's the only one I've been able to get. I got that as like my 8th card, I think. So that's why I was pretty, I guess, like maybe fortunate to even get it at that point. So yeah, Ventrex is like my 8th card. I'm pretty much locked out of their ecosystem now, considering I have like 22 cards or something like that at this point. So, maybe I could get the Saver at some point without a welcome offer. Probably. I don't know. I've never really tried it, to be honest, because this is something I'm going to talk about really in depth in Monday's video. So just like 2 days from now.
We don't want
my Ventrex plans. Oh no, we can talk about it now. I'm just saying, like, for the more concise version of what I'm about to say, you could check out that video. But what I've been saying for a long time is like, even if I could go all in with Capital One, for my travel habits, I wouldn't even really want to. Like they've always been my lowest priority currency personally.
Okay.
And that's mainly because they don't have, again, those competitive partners that I'm really looking for. Like they don't have a hotel partnership that I care about at all.
Right.
And then their airlines are really mainly international. Can you get a ton of value from them? Absolutely. Even domestically, you can do so with the airline alliances, like Phillip was talking about, using British Airways or whatever to book American Airlines flights, all of that, Virgin Atlantic to book Delta, and Aeroplan to book United. Like those things, I know you can do them. But it's like, if I can already get points in other currencies that I value more, why would I not rather have all my spend in those instead of Capital One? So it's kind of been like the redheaded stepchild of my point ecosystems. Like I'm never really looking to earn more of their points, but I do know that they can be extremely valuable. Like I said earlier, every currency you can get the same value from effectively. But when it comes to unique partnerships, Capital One doesn't have any that I'm interested in right now. Maybe that changes over time, but yeah. That's kind of my overall take maybe on their ecosystem. And people get really mad about that, but that's just how I use my points. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. And I think honestly, like the thing I was talking about earlier is like, it kind of proves you right, basically, right? Like you can in theory make these domestic bookings for airfare. But if there's a limitation on the award space, or it's not 6 or 7 or 8 more months out, like you might actually find yourself having to either pay cash or substantially change your itinerary to actually be able to book some of those reward spaces. And so, that can be bad. There's no real like domestic airline that's easy to use that I would recommend. Like there's JetBlue, but like that is literally the worst ratio that I've ever seen. So,
yeah. And, oh shoot, I should have interrupted you. I had a thought and I lost it, but you can keep going.
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry.
My bad.
But yeah, so JetBlue, but honestly, like I did make a recent, so I killed my travel credit on the VentureX recently, and I did it because I had a hotel. It was a Hilton Grand Vacation property off out of Williamsburg, Virginia, and it was actually ended up being $50 cheaper for the 3 nights that we were staying there on the Capital One travel portal. And I used the credit, and then I actually used some Capital One points at 1 cent per point in the portal, and I kind of erased a little bit, which was actually not bad. Like it wasn't a sexy redemption, but like I feel like Capital One points really, like they try to make it so you can use it through the portal, which it makes it a 2% catch-all, but
Well, yeah, I guess technically maybe like 2.2, because if you're booking using the card and then use a purchase eraser, you're earning the points still. So that's true, a little bit better than that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I've always felt like too, is like what I usually do with them, I should have said this too, is that I treat them the same as Amex, where I'm using them for international premium flights. Yeah. And I'm trying to always burn Capital One before Amex. That's like my main thing. And then I use Amex as a secondary. The thing with what I was going to say about the domestic airlines through international airline partners, like all of that, the transfer paths between those, the amount of times that I've tried to do that versus been successful is a very low percentage. Yeah. Like I would much rather just earn the points again directly with like American rather than try to transfer through British Airways. Like I almost never find availability for that. Yeah. And then I mean, I'm sure like Aeroplan's better for United. I know it is. And then I don't know about Virgin. I don't fly Delta, but regardless, it's just like, why add that extra step if I can just go direct with another partner? That's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah. And honestly, it was funny because I was sitting in the room with my father-in-law, and he was like, okay, we're going to fly on United, but first you got to go to Air Canada and make an account. It's like, he's like, why are we doing this? Like, fair point. Yeah.
But I mean, we'll see. Everybody's strategy is different. It all comes down again to your personal preferences and how much effort you're willing to put in. Some people are fine with doing that to get the high cent per points. They're fine booking 7 to 8 months out every time. They're fine doing that. That's just not me. I usually book we booked our, whatever big trip, my girlfriend and I, we booked it last night on the couch, and it's, a couple months out. So it's like, I just don't plan that far ahead. And that's why it just doesn't work as well for me,
Ooh, Mike Newland has actually a really good question that might be interesting. What's your guys' knowledge of Cardless as a company? Do you guys have prior experience with them? I actually don't have any other Cardless cards. Do you?
No, I don't. I don't even know what cards they offered before this, to be honest with you. I guess I could look it up. But.
Uncle Luke really talked up the Avianca card recently. Oh, yeah. And I think they're through there. And then it's Cutter or something like that. So there's that. But yeah, they don't really have a lot of big cards. They got the Simon Mall card, so I guess there's that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any personal experience. I would imagine that the less robust of an ecosystem they have, the probably like worse their customer, service and stuff like that is. I'm not really sure. I haven't had to communicate with them, but I know that people that got denied for like the Bilt cards, I don't know if they've really found a good way to reliably reach anybody about that issue. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be one of these things where we got to test them out again for a year and see how we like it with a real true like card that we're going to be using all the time, and that's different for them and different for us. And I don't have any prior experience though, would be my short answer.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we're I guess so we talked about kind of the big 4 points. What about some of the other kind of miles like Rove miles or something like that? Is that something that you really kind of get into?
No, I haven't, honestly. I think last time I talked to Anthony, or maybe it was with you actually on our live, I mentioned like needing to probably look more into that stuff because I've never gone to earn like Rove miles or anything like that. The only, I guess, like subset or like company that I use would be like Rakuten, really, like when it comes to earning extra points, and that's now Bilt points for me. So
that was going to be my next question. Like, which one are you earning?
Yeah, Bilt all day for me. And that's kind of another reason that I like the Palladium, because I'll automatically earn silver status every year and keep that 1-to-1 transfer rate from Rakuten. So yeah, I'll keep it as Bilt.
Nice. Cauldron's actually, so they have the cutter card for the welcome offer. An Avios is an Avios. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
They're not terribly powerful. Like I was doing a members only video talking about British Airways and wait, like there are ways to do it. It's just like you can get lost in like the whole like into deep, like, oh, I need to transfer this to Finnair to make this, kind of redemption. And they don't make it easy.
No, I guess that's kind of the point, right? That's why they people don't do it.
Yeah,
I usually stop after like British Airways, to be honest with you. Like I never even go to the other websites, but I know I could go to like Qatar Airways or I guess like Finnair and all these other ones, but I just don't. Yeah. I stick with like the basics. And you got a big part of this game that we never talk about really is the value of our time.
Right, that's true.
Like how much do you really value time versus convenience? And I think people could tell pretty clearly that I think I value convenience a little bit more than like putting tons of hours into this research. I'll still do a decent amount, but you get to a point of diminishing returns, in my opinion. So
yeah, no, 100%. Exactly. It becomes kind of just too much work, Yeah. And even sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it might be like maybe that's my weak mentality on it, like not wanting to go as hard into it, but that's just, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. And like when I talk to like some of these people and they're like, oh, I have like 3 business golds and I go get gift cards at Amazon every month. And like, it's just like there's a lot of time and it's definitely great. Like if you can find a way to kind of maximize your earnings and certain things, like do it. But I definitely don't have enough time in the day to do all that. So
yeah, keep it sustainable. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Juan Garcia has a good question. Let's see. Do you have the CSE as part of your credit card roadmap?
Yeah, the City Strata Elite. It's one that if I ever find myself wondering what card to get next and I don't have an immediate plan and say I could sit on my hands for 6 months, at least on the personal side or inquiries, then I'd get it. But it's not like on my current roadmap necessarily. I had the Bilt 2.0 card was, there's a welcome offer on that I have to work towards. Right. And then, like I said, I might have made some moves in the Amex ecosystem. So that's going to be some spend. And then after that, it's kind of like I have a couple hotel cards I'm considering. But the CSE is definitely on there in the back of my mind for like American Airlines flights effectively. Like I don't really think of those points as being worth anything else to me since I have those Capital One miles and Amex points that I could use for international trips.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Good to know.
Maybe one day.
Awesome. Yeah. Stacy actually has a good Rove data point. So just booked husband's work trip via Hilton Direct, but went through Rove and earned 1.6x Rove miles in addition to all the other ways you normally earn points. Not much, but it seems, but it's been the best shopping portal. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, Rove miles, someone, maybe she can tell us, or maybe you already know, Phillip, but is that like an effective, like it's locked within their ecosystem effectively and like you have to book through Rove? Yeah. That makes
Yeah, but I do know that like if you make that booking through Rove, it seems like 9 times out of 10 you're able to actually earn loyalty points with that hotel system,
Oh yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
nice. So that's kind of a would be a big deal for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, I haven't really played around with it too much, but definitely seems like Stacy's been able to make it work for her. John Cutter has another super chat. Thanks so much, guys. You
Awesome.
guys are awesome. I'm gonna have to have you on more, Spencer. Co-branded cards only versus Bilt like transfers for domestic travel or Amex to Delta, etc. Okay, so I guess the question is, would you rather do co-branded cards only or Bilt for transfers for domestic travel?
Yeah, I think he's yeah. So either co-branded cards versus transferable currencies, effectively, is what I'm getting at. I think. So I guess like just the way I think about this conversation as a whole, I think you need to look at average point valuations effectively. So with hotels, for example, the only hotel you should be transferring to is Hyatt or, I guess I prefer technically, but
Yeah.
like in my eyes, like the only value you're going to get above like my baseline with Chase, for example, like find your baseline first, I guess, with each transferable currency. And as you'll soon find out, the only real hotel worth transferring to would be like Hyatt, unless you have a really good transfer bonus, something
Yeah.
like that with another one. Because all those other like IHG, Hilton, Marriott, their average cent per point value is so low that I
Right.
would there like for that specific redemption, those hotel redemptions, I would prefer co-branded cards, which is why I have hotel cards on my roadmap because I want to earn their points directly from their cards and their welcome offers since they've kind of
Oh
baked in
yeah.
that price and they give you really high welcome offers because of that. If I went and got a welcome offer from, let's say, Chase and wanted to transfer that to IHG, that's not priced in. So, I'm losing like half my value of points by doing that. So when it comes to like, I think of more like airlines for me is transferable currencies. And then I have Chase and Bilt for Hyatt. And then otherwise
Oh
for
yeah.
the other hotels, I'm looking to get their specific hotel cards. That's how I think about
Nice.
it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really helpful. Like the hotel cards, because like the only time I really use my Ritz card is either for rental cars or for staying at Marriott properties.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing for my Aspire card too, because like if I can get 34 points per dollar, I'll do it.
Yeah, right. But again, if you're using like that kind of stuff isn't, if you were to use a Amex card instead to earn 4x back or something like that, and then transfer that to Hilton, you're only getting, effective 8% back on
That's
that
true.
purchase compared to 34x. So you just can't beat hotel cards in those lower
Yeah.
value point currencies. You can't beat their specific cards, especially with welcome offers. And that
Right.
also applies to like the low value airline ecosystems. So like really, I mean, depending on how you're using like United and Delta, even like United, Delta, Southwest, JetBlue, all of those, like technically you probably want their co-branded cards, at least for their offers.
Yeah.
And then, you transfer to like the big high value ones, like the international and stuff.
Oh,
like that.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Like, and that's another thing too. Like the sign up bonus is really huge because like I got sign up bonuses for American so far, Delta, and then I got the Virgin card actually too because that was going to help me with a redemption. And like that's a great way to kind of skim off the top a little bit more and kind of make those bank points just work a little, go a little bit further. That's a great point.
yeah, actually, just on maybe on this topic real quick, I recently made the transfer from Chase to IHG with that 70% bonus they had going on until like
Oh,
2 days
nice.
ago. Yeah, it's because I had a specific hotel in mind. Remember, I said like I did one bigger redemption this year, and it's actually at the Kimpton Sapphire in the Cayman Islands, which is Luke's like favorite property. It's an IHG property. I have IHG Platinum status through my Sapphire Reserve. There's a 70% bonus to IHG. I calculated that the break even point for me to get more than 1.5 cents per point for that transfer rate and everything was basically redeeming the IHG points at 0.88 cents per point or more. So bear with me. It's a lot of math
yeah.
here, but I knew that Kimpton Sapphire would give me above 1 cent per point directly, I believe. I need to
Right.
check the math again, but it was definitely above that baseline. So I knew that transfer was actually really good and made my Chase points worth close to 2 cents per point, even transferring to IHG because of that transfer bonus and the value of that
Wow.
hotel. So like you can do a combo is what I'm kind of trying to say here. Like those transfer
Yeah.
bonuses, that changes the game. But without that, it's like, I'm only ever transferring to Hyatt as a hotel. Maybe Hilton if there's a really good redemption rate, but that's it.
Agreed. And even with Hilton, like their valuation per point is so low consistently nowadays that like it actually might make more sense to actually cash out your points and use them to pay for the hotel. than to
literally.
actually like use your points to cover the hotel with points. Like it's crazy.
So that's
Yeah.
why, a lot of people, they need to be getting co-branded cards to top off those balances with welcome offers. Because if not, how
Yeah.
are you going to book those on points? You can't. You can buy
No,
the
yeah.
points. That's another option to hit welcome offers. You can buy points at 100% sales and all that. That's a great option with Hilton and IHG. But yeah.
Yeah. I like that. All right. Cool kid, yo, 9. My two goats together again. Nice. If you have the Venture X, is the Ritz worth it? Venture X is my only premium travel card. Only other annual fee card is Chase. I'm assuming Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Yeah, or Charlotte Premier, I guess, these days. But
Yeah, it could be one or the other.
yeah, I guess neither of those I would necessarily call like premium in the sense of like the benefits aren't going to be premium, but the transferability is. I mean, I would say I'll let you take over this one. I'll just say something real quick on it, and that is
Sure.
that the Ritz has really become like the Venture X killer for lounge access. So all of this
good
comes
point.
down to how much you value lounge access, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And what kind of
Otherwise, they're
lounges?
effectively. Say that again.
And what kind of lounges you actually expect to be able to use too.
True. Because yeah, Capital One versus the Sapphire lounges between those two cards, and yeah, I think that's the biggest deciding factor between the two because they both have a $300 travel credit. Arguably,
Yep.
the Ritz is actually a better travel credit
Yeah.
because it's more flexible, like not being through their portal specifically. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Is it really comes down to the lounges you want, but I know you have a lot more takes on the Ritz than I do even.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't even be here if it weren't for the Ritz-Carlton card. So it was weird. My second video ever made was on the Ritz-Carlton card, and it did 1,000 views, which was
crazy.
incredible for me at the time. Yeah, but yeah, no, the Ritz-Carlton card, I love it. Actually, starting to get a little bit of use out of it. It's not looking so pretty anymore, but yeah, I love it because. First of all, there's a lot of really cool Chase perks that are only on this card that you don't even get on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, even that much. Like the number on the back of this card. I'm not going to show you the back of this card, but the number here, it just go. It's like the JP Morgan Reserve card. You call and it doesn't even go to a phone tree. It's just you're talking to somebody.
Oh, it's great.
And,
yeah, I used that
yeah.
recently.
It's amazing. Like I've never actually I'm like, oh, I wish there were more problems so I could call the bank.
Yeah.
But I love that too. And then the roadside assistance here is like S tier because I actually used this last January for my mom. So she called me and she found out that basically 2 of her front wheels our tires had detached from the wheels. And so the only way to fix it was to just tow it to a tire place. And so basically I went over there and I made the call, and literally 15 minutes after I made the initial call, the tow truck guy was where I was. Like it was insane. You know,
You told me about this story. Did you? So, what? The benefit of that is it the speed of that? Like, what did they charge you for it? Like, how does?
yeah,
all
exactly.
that
So
kinda
you
work?
get 4 free visits per year. So if you
Really?
need a jump, they'll come and get you. If you need
key
your
or
car
something?
towed, yeah, exactly. Like they will like lockouts, like the whole thing. If you need someone to help you by the side of a road or even like in a parking lot, they will come 4 times per year. And
I need to cancel my AAA or whatever it is. My
yeah,
yeah,
because I
pay
think
like
they use
$100
the
a
same
year
network.
for that.
Yeah,
Really?
and so that's huge. And like, my wife and I, we have like newer cars. So like, our cars haven't broken down so much, knock on wood, but, it's nice to have that peace of mind that I can call wherever I am. And there's always going to be something. Like even like I made a rental car purchase, for Thanksgiving week. And they were really hitting home this like, oh, you need to buy our roadside assistance. And I'm like, are you trying to tell me your cars suck?
Right.
But I was like, I don't have to spend an extra $175 for this rental because I have the Ritz-Carlton card, and I love that. So
Yeah.
but that's not even talking about the stuff that Cool Kid actually wants to know about, right?
Yeah, no.
The Sapphire Lounge is my favorite domestic lounge I've ever been in. I'll just say that out front. Now I also have only been to the one in Philly, which is apparently one of the better ones, but.
They're all
it's-
pretty dang nice though.
Yeah.
Like San Diego, really nice. I've been to San Diego, obviously the Austin one, JFK, but I haven't been to Philly yet. I've heard really good things about that one.
Philly is amazing. I did find out though that they will cut you off.
Really?
Yeah. So I made the mistake. So I went because they have a beer garden there, and they actually have a separate menu of food that you can only get at the beer garden. So I ordered the pretzel and the beer at the beer garden, went back to my table, and then I saw the menu and I decided to order a mixed drink. And when they brought the mixed drink to me, I had a beer at the table, and I guess that was not a good thing. So I actually wasn't able to order anything else after that. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a big blunder I had with the Ritz? Actually, I haven't told anybody about this. It's
Yeah, sure.
pretty embarrassing. So I did not realize that the annual travel credit was calendar year.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I learned about that on December 30th.
Oh, no.
And I called them, and that's why I was saying, like, I called the number on the back of the card, and they said that the transaction had to post by the end of the year, so it was impossible for me to use the travel credit. Granted,
Oh, that's
remember,
sad.
I upgraded this year, so
Right.
it
So
doesn't
would've
matter.
been
I didn't need
a
that.
double dip. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a double dip, but I was still like, that's embarrassing. I thought it was card member year, but
Yeah. And that's the thing, like there's so many different ways to, to miss out because there's so many different coupons, right? Like if I like my Max Rewards app is stupid with the notifications because they're like, oh,
it's
you have this
ridiculous.
one credit. It's like,
yeah.
but yeah, no, I love the Ritz-Carlton card because the Chase Sapphire lounges are great. And honestly, more importantly, the priority pass is better than the Capital One or with Amex. Like you get access to the express spas, you get access to the minute suites, and then you have better guest access for the actual priority pass lounges, which is nice.
Well, you have any guest access. Is the
Right,
important
that's
thing,
true.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And so that's huge. So I think like the only frustrating thing about the Ritz-Carlton card, it has the protections, it has the lounge access, and lounge access is free for authorized users, and it doesn't cost anything to add an authorized user, which is great. Now they did limit it. I think each authorized user can only bring in 2 guests now moving forward or something like that.
Yes, yeah. Still, again, better than
Right.
it's the same as
Yeah.
I think the Sapphire Reserve too. Like it's
Yeah.
just good lounge policies. Like that's all that really matters with it. I think that's why people love
Exactly.
it.
So yeah, so if you care about Priority Pass and giving Priority Pass to your family, I'd say the Ritz is worth it. I don't even like Marriott has not been my primary hotel chain. I've probably only stayed at I think 3 properties last year that were Marriott's, and it was still like the gold status. Everyone loves to drag it, but I've always been able to check in early, check out late.
Me too.
That's and maybe every once in a while I'll get free parking. But pretty much like, you don't get free food, which kind of sucks. But a lot of Marriott's with their free breakfast, it's just enough to get like check the box. It's like you got some prosciutto and a bagel,
Yeah, I actually don't even. Yeah, I guess maybe a little fun fact about me. I don't really even ever get breakfast at the hotels anyways. Like I'm not a big breakfast guy in general, so I like have protein
Okay.
bars that I bring everywhere. Like even at my house,
yeah.
I eat a protein bar for breakfast. Like that's what I do. So I'm
Okay.
weird, but I actually don't even value that benefit a ton. When my
Okay.
girlfriend's with me though, that's when it matters because she likes breakfast. So
Right.
solo traveling,
yeah.
I don't care though.
Nice. My favorite breakfast at a hotel is at the Waldorf in Orlando. Actually, they have a buffet that's really nice. They actually have like a croissant bar. There's like different types of like fresh baked croissants and stuff. It's like it's awesome. But yeah,
That's cool.
it's expensive unless you get the credit. But
Yep.
but yeah, no. Thanks so much for that. And no, I wasn't trying to drag you, cool kid. That was I love it. I think the picture is the best. I love Shrek. So. All right, Samuel, we thanks for coming here, but we did kind of talk about Bilt earlier, so I don't want to waste Spencer's time too much. Let's see if we have anything else. Tyler actually has an interesting point. Never really needed Hyatt points before. Until this year's community meetup, I really saw no need for them. Sort of bitten in butt now, so I'm having to scramble to figure out how to get it done. Yeah. Hyatt points are, yeah, that's right, because the creator meetup is going to be at a Hyatt property, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm stoked for it. I actually still need to figure out. Anthony was talking about needing to get some guest of honor status, so I might need to figure that out soon too. But we got a while for that. But yeah, it's at a Hyatt property, and it's funny. I think a lot of people get into Hyatt because of the point valuations, and then they realize like, wait, I actually really like these properties, and then they keep trying to find ways to earn more points with them after that point. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're staying in DC, for example, like there's that Thompson that Anthony loves talking about. That's really solid, and it's not that much in points. I think it's like 18,000 points a night or something. And then there's a couple of others. There's 2 Park Hyatts actually, but no, there's two Ritz. There's only one Park Hyatt. That's right. But even still, like that particular property is only like usually 30 to 35,000 points because it's not like a high end Park Hyatt. So yeah, they have good properties.
The other important thing too with them is just the fact that you can easily, like, if you are going to commit to the Chase ecosystem even for a little bit, it's so easy to earn Hyatt points as well.
It
like
is.
You can't, it's just,
and they go so far.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Since they are so valuable, it's really easy to earn a lot of nights with them. Maybe I should say, instead of just points, like just a ton of nights across every year. If you get one ink card every year, that's 90,000 points already. Like,
yeah,
of course that might not be doable anymore, but we'll see. Try it out.
So John Cutter said there's something charming about a mediocre continental breakfast at roadside 3-star hotel.
Yeah, I get that. The powdered eggs. Come on.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I've got. So I love Anthony. He's awesome. But he was like, dude, you got to stay at this Hyatt near me. So I stayed at the Hyatt that was close to him, and so I went down to breakfast. And I was like, oh, we'll see what happens. It was a Hyatt place. They had Eggos.
Wow.
They had
Stranger Things really embracing it.
Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. And they weren't even good Eggos. They were like, they've been sitting there for a while, so they were kind of crispy on the edges. Like,
God.
Oh yeah, man. So I was like, Anthony, what are you doing to me, man?
Definitely some charm. I want to go visit Anthony soon, so maybe I'll have to stay at that same Hyatt place. Right. Was it good otherwise?
It was fine. It was a Hyatt place, it's the same kind of layout,
Yep. Same everywhere. That's kind of what I like.
Yeah.
Cheap though.
Exactly. Yes. 5,000 points a night.
That's crazy.
And then, yeah. And I used 5,000 points to book one night, and then I used my Delta Stays credit to book the other night. So
I need to start doing that more with all these random credits I got now,
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. I need to use my $300 Venture X credit. My annual fee is going to renew in like a month or whatever. I've heard that also Capital One is not great on refunding annual fees. I don't know if I heard that from you or somebody else, but
I have heard some people say that. Although I did actually see someone on Reddit posted a screenshot saying that they got a partial refund the other day.
But usually you have 30 days after a card's annual fee post to cancel and get refunded, and people are saying that doesn't happen with them. So I'm wondering if I need to cancel, if I want to get rid of it or whatever, downgrade before my annual.
You may. I looked into that because my venture card renewed recently, and I did have an upgrade offer, which is just product changing offer. And I didn't take it then because I didn't have the Venture X yet, and I still wanted to have a 2X. And as soon as like it became within the month of the annual fee being posted, all my upgrade offers went away. And so,
oh yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah. So like they're like, we want to get you, and we're gonna get you.
Yeah, that's really they're just so annoying. But yeah, I need to use my $300 travel credit.
Yeah, we have John Cutter. He actually said I just got a partial annual fee refunded last week for downgrading Capital One. Okay,
partial's ridiculous though. What do you mean partial? Like as in like if I downgrade a $395 annual fee Venture X to Venture One, I'm only going to get $150. Like, is that what that means?
Maybe it's like prorated or something. Like
if it's prorated. If it's prorated, that's different. But if I'm not getting a full 395 back and I have to pay another year, that's crazy. I hope that's not the case,
crazy.
But
yeah,
we'll see.
Because then you might as well keep it, and then you make the same mistake next year.
Exactly. That's People get so mad at me for calling like Capital One like a predatory lender, but they do so many weird tactics like that it just kind of annoys me.
I was actually recording with the 850 Credit Club people the other day, and we were talking about Capital One. And he was asking me like, what's the easiest way to get a credit limit increase? And I had to answer truthfully, because the only time I've ever gotten a credit limit increase that was substantial enough was when I carried a balance. And they reward the behavior that they want, and that's they want you to do that sort of thing.
That's predatory. No other lender does that. I mean, maybe it would still operate that way, but with Amex, you get rewarded for using your cards and paying them off. They give you crazy credit limit increases. Like that's just not normal, from a bank. So I don't. That's one reason I don't like even really doing much business with Capital One. But
yeah. I mean, I think that they do have their time and place, but I think what you said about the points not being as easy to use for domestic travel is definitely kind of spot on. Like it is harder, especially for someone who doesn't really want to have to think, okay, like I need to check British Airways, I need to check Qatar, like I need to check, it does get really kind of crazy. Okay. Calder's has another interesting data point. They don't refund the annual fee after it hits. You have to do it before. I got $60 back. Okay.
Dude, what? If that's
So
a
you,
Venture X that you got $60 back for, that is crazy. So I guess I mean that tells me everything I need to know though. If I'm downgrading this Venture X, which
you got to
spoiler
do it
alert, that's the
sooner.
plan. I'm gonna do it, yeah, within the next like week or so. Or
That's
I guess
actually
that 3
interesting.
weeks.
So I just did a video. Was I guess it was yesterday. It feels so long ago. Where I compared the Venture X and the Bilt Palladium card, and I kind of came out with the opposite idea. And I think my approach to it, to wanting to keep the Venture X, was that when we all have a lot of high annual fee cards, right? I have 2 business platinums, a platinum, an Aspire, the Ritz. Like, it's crazy. Like, I very clearly don't mind playing I'm going to pay a high annual fee game and I'm going to try to chase that value, right? I'm fine with that to a certain point. But I feel like there needs to be a reason to play that game. And the Venture X, with the Capital One lounge access, with the easier to use travel credit, I feel like, than the Palladium's travel credit, it feels like that game is a little more worth playing than with the Palladium. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the personal opinion, right? Because I'm on the opposite end where I feel more rewarded by using the Palladium than I do the Venture X, and maybe that again comes down to effective annual fee stuff. Like I said earlier, I'm really big on that. So I did the numbers, for my situation, and since I don't value lounge access really at all, since I already have the Sapphire Reserve and Ritz-Carlton cards, like I don't value the Venture X lounge access at all, or the Palladium. I don't care about either. My effective annual fee on the Venture X was like -500. I have it right here. -$516 per year, which is great, positive $500. But the Palladium, with the same exact spend, just using the 2 credits on it, I'm getting -$1,200 every year.
Wow.
So positive $1,200 in value.
Okay.
So for me, it's just like, it just makes more sense for my situation. And I've also been looking to get away from the Venture X, to be honest. Like, that's part of it. But since I want to earn more Bilt points, and this card is the easiest way to do that for me, and it gives me the silver status, it gives me, reason to spend on it, all of that stuff. Like, that's why I'm going to at least try it out for the year and then see after. But I'm open to being, getting rid of it like I will the Venture X. I'm fine with that because, again, the Amex Blue Business Plus, what I found is that my effective annual fee on the Venture X and Blue Business Plus are exactly the same.
Really?
And
wow,
one's a no annual fee card because all I care about on the Venture X, when it comes down to it, I'm using the credit to offset my annual fee. And then all I care about is the 2x earning rate, which the Blue Business Plus does for free.
That's true.
So I need more. I need more from the Venture X than I'm getting. And that's kind of like my conclusion. But it is still a great card. Like, positive $500 a year is still great for me not even valuing lounge access. So somebody that does value it will get a lot of value. But
and of course, remember, folks, the card pays you $5 per year to hold it.
I say that only like 4 or 5 times in that video, just to reiterate.
Man, I wish I was Israel. Chase is targeting me with 175 off on the Reserve. So I guess that's a sign-up bonus. That's a pretty steep sign-up. Is that the Reserve Business or the personal one?
I mean, the personal one I think is only offering like 125.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's amazing. If they're doing that,
that's really great if that's the case. And I think business is 200K up until the next like few days. So
yeah, my wife actually got one of those, and I was just like, oh man.
Well, without you didn't get it for her, or she got it by herself?
No, she got a mailer for the 200,000 for the business, and I was just like, oh man, I want it, but it's just too much annual fees right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've been trying to say like this year's the year that I'm going to consolidate annual fees, and the last like 2 weeks have just thrown that plan right out the window. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. So I was talking to Key the other day. She recently did a video talking about, I think it was 15 credit cards she was going to cancel this year. And, I don't know if I could do that. Like, she was thinking about keeping she was going to keep a core setup or something. And I was like, I don't know if I could. Like, I have too many specialty cards, like the Amazon Prime Visa, the Apple card. Like, I guess I like having a complicated wallet.
Yeah. I'm looking at my spreadsheet over here while we're talking, but I did this yesterday because I was curious as to how many cards I'm actually using, basically, right? And I got down to the point of being like, even if they're just used for one thing, I'm using 14 out of my like 22 credit cards, which means I can still cancel a good amount. Yeah. But that's actually not even true because some of those are keep alive cards, like my old Chase Freedom Unlimited. I don't want to ever get rid of that, like stuff like that. So I'm at a weird spot where, like I'm really actually using all the cards that I have for the most part. I will still cancel probably like 5 or so this year, I think. I've already canceled like 4 or so within the past 4 months or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird spot to be in where like if I'm looking at these numbers, my effective annual fees, and all of my cards are giving me a bunch of positive value, it's kind of hard to to not keep them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, is like so my Aspire card annual fee posted a couple months ago, and it was just like I just sat looking at the statement. And I was like $550. Like that's so much, and I was just thinking about like I mean I use it to do stuff that I normally do. And so it's just like it's hard once you actually see that annual fee actually hit. Like the platinum card next month is going to come up $895, and I'm just going to be like, you know?
Yeah. The question is really like, are you willing to prepay for that stuff? Because that's all these are, right? These annual fees are just prepaying for stuff that you'd naturally spend on. So as long as you're getting more value than what you would have paid for, like if you're, that's the problem with like a Venture X has been like, if I'm just wiping the annual fee, like why prepay $300 a year for travel on that card rather than just running that spend through like my Sapphire Reserve? It's $300.
Yeah,
you know, like
that makes sense. Yeah.
So you have to do that balance. It's the weighing game. That's why people get so upset because they might value it way higher than we do, or vice versa. So
yeah,
it's good to have opinions, but yeah, don't let them ruin your day.
Yeah, exactly. People can disagree with you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Jordan Rules for Credit became a YouTube name. Thanks so much, Jordan. I appreciate you. You're going to be learning a lot about point redemptions, hopefully.
Yeah. I think the Bills might have just started. Did somebody?
Yeah, so
just started.
Yeah, 4:30 just now. So if we can break a little bit early if you want to.
I don't care. Okay. I'm not watching.
All right. Yeah. All right. I heard joining the membership guarantees the Bills win the Super Bowl. Have a great rest of the life. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you. Let's see. Interesting. Okay, so Josh is saying there's a ton of data points about getting the Venture X back after downgrading. They seem to not like churners. Oh, is there? Okay, yeah.
Oh,
it's yeah. Okay, so is there? It seems like maybe no. I don't know. Like you might get us an upgrade offer later down the road, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like they've been teasing all these new like product change offers and stuff like that. So maybe that's something that's going to become more viable. But what I've kind of got to the point of, I guess, understanding and accepting is that I'm not going to get the Venture X again, nor do I really care. Like that's one thing. But also, if I ever do want it, if they for some reason buff it and it becomes way better and it fits my strategy better, something like that,
right?
Player 2. I've kept her profile so clean that she could get a Capital One duo down the line if we want to. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, there's always options like that. That's kind of the thing. But
I like that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think that's where, if I remember correctly, I think Uncle Luke was also saying that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he's planning on canceling his Venture X, but I don't know if it's going to be the same way he canceled his Amex Gold card or not. But we'll find out.
Oh, I haven't seen that one, but he does some fun stuff.
And the preferred at 75,000 and 150 travel credit. Ooh, that's actually a good question. So would you rather take I think this is from the same earlier, would you rather take the reserve at 175,000 points, if that's my understanding, or the preferred at 75,000 plus $150 in travel credit?
I mean, if you're going for total positive value, I'd take the reserve one because $895 minus that, like you're still getting way more value from that welcome offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, long-term keeper-wise, that's the difficult decision. But you could always try the reserve for a year, use the welcome offer, use all the benefits, the credits, just like we talk about with all these cards, Amex Platinum, Bilt Palladium now, all this stuff. And then you either downgrade it after that year or cancel it. The thing is now, like in the past, that'd be a more easy decision because you could only have like one of the Sapphire cards and all of that. Right. But now, like technically, you should be able to get the welcome offer on the preferred and reserve separate. Technically, that's your mileage may vary thing.
Yeah.
So you might not want to do that downgrade after a year is all I'm saying. You might want to apply for the Sapphire Preferred too, like kind of just knock both out.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Yeah. Why not both? I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Israel's for the preferred because I understand you can only get one if of the Chase Sapphires. Yeah. Is it still just a one Sapphire rule or did they get rid of that one?
No, that's the thing is they got rid of that rule. I mean, unless I'm completely wrong here, I'm pretty sure that rule's gone.
Okay. That's what I thought too. I'm not that into the Chase news because
I'm going to pull up the terms real quick just to see if they changed it. But I know, again, it's a your mileage may vary thing. I think the way the terms read, you're supposed to be able to get both independently. But a lot of
Okay,
people
yeah.
don't get that. They don't get that ability. It says, yeah. So if you have any other personal Sapphire cards open, you might not be available or able to get the bonus.
Oh,
Previously
okay.
held this card or received a new card member bonus for this card. So yeah, it is independent. But if you're already holding a Sapphire card, it's probably going to be harder to get the
Gotcha.
bonus
Okay,
on
that makes
another one.
sense.
So yeah.
All right, so we should try the Anthony game. Apply for both in the same day and see
Yeah. I mean, technically, yeah.
because you don't hold it. So,
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
man, yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. So I think so we have another half hour ish or so, and I definitely wanted to ask you. So we've been talking a lot about credit card points and miles, and kind of trying to figure out which point system is the easiest for most people to use. And you definitely had some really strong arguments for Chase about being able to transfer to Hyatt and Southwest for you, and some people United might be better. What would Chase have to do to stop being the best value?
I mean, yeah, I think it's the easiest, or like the place that my mind goes first is if they completely got rid of the points boost, basically. If they made it like just not
Okay.
viable for me to use, because that's how I'm using most of my Chase points these days. So that'd be part one of it. But at the same time, if I couldn't use the points boost, then I would just be basically solely reserving my Sapphire or my Chase points for Hyatt, most likely. So my strategy wouldn't necessarily change. I would still need Chase points, but it would just be in a different format. I would use a lot less of them, I'm sure, and I'd probably be focusing more on co-branded currencies directly.
Okay.
But yeah, for me to like completely like for me to not have them at such high esteem, like they would have to completely get rid of points boost, I think, for me. And then obviously if like Hyatt left or something like that, that would, I mean, I don't know why they would ever do that. That'd ruin them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the more and more that they look like every other lender, they all start to fall within the same tier. Like
Yeah.
it's the competitive advantages that each have that again you need to focus on. And for me with Chase, that's the boost through the travel portal with my Sapphire Reserve as well as Hyatt mainly. So either one of those go, that makes me reevaluate. I would still have access to Hyatt through like Bilt, for example. So that'd be okay.
Yeah.
It'd push me more into the Bilt ecosystem, and then I wouldn't even use the travel portal boosts at all at that point. Like the travel portals would just become like, I don't know what I would do instead, honestly. Besides go get more co-branded cards.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Let's get another IHG Premier.
Yeah. Or I guess use the airline alliances more would be the other thing. Like
That's true
I'd find
too. Yeah.
more creative ways to book what I used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you could convert all of your Chase points to Marriott and convert all your Marriott points to Virgin.
God, what would I lose on that transfer? That transfer
Like
path?
80% of the value, probably.
Yeah. Just nerve myself into the ground.
Yeah. So one thing that I think, honestly, when I was thinking about this, right, you are right. Like Chase is kind of one of the keys to I'm sorry, not Chase. Hyatt is one of the keys to Chase kind of retaining that value. One of the things that I'm concerned about with Hyatt is that, first of all, they always go through those annual like devaluations where every property is all of a sudden a lot fancier than it was a month ago, at least internally. But one major change that Hyatt made to its core business structure a year, maybe 2 years ago, was it started going more towards an asset light model, which is one of the reasons why we like it is because Chase Corporate or Hyatt Corporate, sorry, I keep doing that. They own most of the hotels that are in the Hyatt ecosystem, unless it's a Mr. and Mrs. Smith or something. That's more and more becoming not the case anymore as they're trying to expand out a little bit. They're going more like the franchisee model, which is what Hilton and Marriott and literally everybody else do. I'm worried that like as they kind of delve more into that asset light model, that we're going to see, they're going to slip on globalist benefits. They're going to slip on maybe even these point valuations. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem that even Chase is having, right? I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
like the more that these banks and point currencies become like everybody else, the worse for outsized value, effectively. So I think that Hyatt might continue. Like luckily, maybe right now they have a good enough buffer that it's going to take a while for them to really lose enough value, substantial enough, at least for me to not consider them first. Like they're always the first hotel I consider because of that just average redemption rate. But if that becomes less and less the case, that's going to change my strategy a lot. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there would be so many other things that have to come into play there, because if those points get devalued, like their hotel cards, I mean,
Oh
they'd be
yeah.
almost worthless, like that.
Hmm.
They've already, I think, to me, like the Hyatt cards in general are just not really
As
exciting at
compelling.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, they're only, the welcome offers are not very high. If they kept it like that and the points are getting devalued more, like it'd just be less and less reason to get into Hyatt. But I think as long as they keep their partnerships on the bank side pretty exclusive, like just Chase and Bilt, for example, that gives you a lot more room to keep that valuation high. But I'm not married to any of these programs. Like I'm never married to any of these programs. So I will always find ways to get value from this game. Right now, Hyatt's the easiest. We used to have like SPG was the easiest, right? Like, I mean, I didn't have that, but I know people always talk so highly of the SPG program before Marriott took it over, and maybe
Yeah.
Hyatt will see a similar fate. I don't know, but someone new will pop up and we'll get value from them. So
That's
it's just a
true.
constant
Yeah.
game that we're
We're all
playing.
gonna rush to city to become I prefer people.
Right, exactly. Right. It might
I
happen.
love
You
it.
never know.
Yeah. All right. So this is kind of a weird question, and we haven't talked about this before. I just wanted to ask you, like, if you had someone that came to you and asked you, what is one card that I could get that should be like, like which one card would you recommend for just a random person that's like maybe not in the community, in the points and miles community?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is that it's still, I think, for most people I talk to, it comes down to that Sapphire Preferred, which isn't
Hmm.
like a super powerful card, right? Like it's really
Right.
not. It's not a great earner. It's a decent earner, but nothing extremely special. The hotel credit, not extremely special either. But for the people I talk to consistently, the flexibility of redemption options while being able to understand just one simple transfer of like Chase to Hyatt and Chase to Southwest. Like if you know how to do that, you're going to get on
Right.
average, let's say 1.5 cents per point for your points. That's solid. For most people, that's all they care about, just getting free
Yeah.
trips. So that always comes down to like when people ask me in person, that's usually what comes up here in Texas at least. And my answer might change if I was in a different location, to be honest. Like it's just
Yeah.
because the Chase partners work well for us here. But yeah, as cliche as it is to say, like I really do think that the Sapphire Preferred is my most recommended card for those looking to get into the points and miles space without
Yeah.
wanting a ton of hoops to jump through with the complexity of redemptions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that Chase has over Amex in particular, right? Because if you have someone who is looking for just literally one card in their wallet, like you can't in good faith say you should get a gold card or
Yeah.
Blue Business Plus or something, just because if you're traveling anywhere, like even in the United States, like I've had a lot of places will take a Discover card before they'll take an American Express. Like if you're looking with a small family owned restaurant or something like that, like it can be difficult. And so it's not as big of a problem as it used to be, but it's definitely still enough of a problem that it's like, maybe you should stick with something that's a Visa, and normally that'll be Chase.
Yeah, I would say the other thing here too is like, again, it depends on where the location of somebody. So if they're flying out of an American Airlines hub, for example, the City Strata Premier all day is the best spender for most people. 3x on a ton of different categories. They can transfer to
Yeah.
American Airlines. That's all they need to know. Like that's
That's
great
true.
for a
Yeah.
lot of people. I guess same thing would apply like the Wells Fargo autograph card. If they're traveling internationally and they know how to use those partners, that card has so many earning categories on it that technically
Yeah.
that would be a really good one card. No annual fee with transfer partner access. So it does depend, but it's like usually those $95 cards that have the transfer partner access while also having good cash out options. It's really between the autograph, the Strata Premier, and the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like a venture card might make sense in there too, technically, but it's just not the first one that comes to mind for me.
Right. Yeah, and I think the venture card was a lot more compelling when it had lounge access, because
Right.
it used to have two access or two visits to the Capital One lounge, which at $95, like, yeah, I'll do that every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even have to care about the hotel credits. Do you use the Chase Sapphire Preferred hotel credit? Like, have you been able to find a use out of it?
Whenever I had the card, I would. Yeah, because I mean, you can use it through the way that what I really like about Chase's portal is that you can split the purchase between cash and points.
Yeah, that is
So like
nice.
for example, even my Sapphire Reserve, which operates in this way, the same as the sorry, did I say Sapphire? My Sapphire Reserve edit credit activates
Oh, yeah.
or acts the same way that the hotel credit on the Preferred used to.
Oh,
where
okay, yeah.
I can go into the portal, I can pay $250 in cash on my card to activate the credit, and then use the rest of the booking paid in points to get up to 2 cents per point through the portal. So that's the same way that the Sapphire Preferred functions. So you could leave $50 to be paid in cash on the card to activate the credit, and the rest use points up to whatever, 1.75 or something like that with the Sapphire Preferred. And you can do like the double dipping. At a bare minimum, if you're getting whatever 1.25 cents per point through the portal, if you're a legacy user, add that $50 hotel credit in, and you're getting like 1.3 or something like that instead. So yeah, it can be useful. It's more useful, I think, than like a city one, for example, or even like the Bilt Obsidian one now, where it's like 2-night minimum, only $100. Like that's not great.
Right.
The City Charlotte Premier is $100, but $500 worth of a booking. So like that's not as good either. So that's why I think the Chase ones are just a little bit better for that.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely easier to use. And I think we got the Chase Sapphire Preferred with a 100,000 point offer that was last spring.
Nice.
And they also sent us like that email about having the extra $50 in hotel credit. So we have $100 in hotel credits we got to use somewhere. So
yeah, just do what I just said. I mean, you can use it through the portal like you did your Venture X one, and just pay, leave that additional onto the card, and you'll get some decent value from it.
Nice. All right, cool. Yeah. I'm going to go make a hotel booking.
Yeah, I need to do that with my Venture X stuff. I need to, we'll figure that out soon.
Exactly. All right, let's see. We have a couple of people that had their own answers to that question as well. So let's take a look here. John Cutter saying Strata Elite and Bilt Palladium seem like simple one cards. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, they're both really solid. I thought about those, but whenever you're talking about the best card for most people, I'm not going to recommend a card that costs that much, personally.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I go to. Like that's why I wouldn't even recommend like the Venture X for most people, because I just don't. People don't want to deal with annual fees. If you're asking me for a recommendation and you're not big into this credit card game, you're not going to be paying $400 plus for a card.
Yeah. Like when I was talking to my father-in-law about getting his card, and he ended up settling on the Venture card, like even like that $95, like that was high,
Right. Exactly.
So, that's like, wait, it's just a card, why am I paying anything? So yeah, no, that's definitely a great point. Autograph card is good. We actually didn't talk about Wells Fargo points at all. Do you have any of the Wells Fargo cards?
I will, in a few, in a couple weeks or whatever, when the Bilt 2.0 stuff happens. I don't really plan to use that one at all, but it falls into the same bracket, like I said earlier, where every transferable currency can be used for the same value. You can use Wells Fargo rewards points at the same value. They only have like 6 partners or whatever, or like 8 partners maybe now, but they have like Air France, like we talked about. You could get 8 cents per point for that one way through Wells Fargo points, just like you can Capital One, Amex, Chase, Citi, anybody. Exactly. Yeah. So, but again, they don't have they do have a 1 to 2 transfer to Choice Hotels actually, which is good. That's pretty competitive. But I was gonna say outside of that, like they don't have a domestic airline. I guess they have JetBlue too, but they don't have a domestic airline that most people are using religiously. So you'd have to be open to the airline alliance stuff, or just use them for international trips. But their points are still solid.
That. Yeah, no, 100%. This is an interesting one too. Credit union cards for the non-credit card people. Do you have any credit union cards?
No, I don't. I mean, I considered back in the day getting like the Redstone Visa whenever I thought everybody could get that. The Alliant Visa signature was high on my list. They nerfed that to the ground. Most credit union cards are kind of like, they're like, I'd say they're almost like classic B tier cards, most of them, where it's just like they're good, but they're not going to absolutely change the game. But cashback cards in general, I do agree with. Like for most people, they might not even be traveling enough to justify a travel card. Right. So in that case, having just simple cashback is great.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything to help with that. I applied for the Fairwinds visa, and apparently my velocity was a little high for that this year. So.
Yeah, I know Luke talked about that one. I haven't even really looked into it, but
yeah, it's actually funny because their corporate headquarters are actually literally next door to my office. So.
Really? Go in there.
Maybe I should. Yeah, I should go there and be like, hey guys, what's going on?
That's funny.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. We have other $95 Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Preferred, City Preferred, and Autograph Journey. The Sapphire offers primary CDW on car rentals. That's also kind of a big deal. I recently, my I do rental cars a lot because we travel in the United States, and pretty much most of the time you're going to have to get a rental car at some point. And we got one for Thanksgiving. It ended up actually being through, let's see, it was Avis. And I took the video around the thing, took the video when I took it back. And basically 2 weeks ago, they sent me a letter saying, we're going to charge you $2,000 because we decided we had to replace the windshield. It was your fault. What? And I paid for it on the Ritz card, and so I didn't really care so much. But I was still like, the principle of the thing, I'm going to fight this thing. Right. And basically, what I found out, because I called the location, I called the corporate number first, and they're bad.
Yeah, not helpful. To say
no, yeah. So I called the location, and they're like, "Oh, we never actually filed a claim." So it was a different location that actually filed it. And so I had to be like, okay, so I had to call that specific location. And then I guess one of the supervisors looked at it and was like, yeah, I can't find any damage. So he canceled it out. But it was like, still like, yeah. But that peace of mind is like having that primary, not have to worry about insurance, stuff like that. Like it matters, basically, is the gist of that conversation.
Yeah. The good thing about that too, like, yeah, if you were going to only choose one, this is a really good point. Remember too that you should be able to just activate that by putting any amount of that purchase on like a Sapphire Preferred. So if you wanted to get a higher return on that purchase on a card that didn't have that primary CDW, you could do that and then leave like whatever, like taxes and fees or something like that to be paid on that preferred, and you should be good. So that's something to consider too.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because I didn't have my Ritz-Carlton on me when I actually had to make the booking. So I had to prepay for a certain amount, and that was actually on my Amex Platinum card. And then I put the rest on the Ritz-Carlton card. And so, that's good. Great point, Jim. Thanks so much for being there too. All right. So just real quick, we are going to do have a hard stop in about 8 to 9 minutes. So make sure you get your questions in, because we definitely want to make sure we're kind of getting into it. Obviously, a lot of us still talking about Bilt, and so that might be on there too. But yeah, we hopefully, if we're non-Bilt, that would be awesome too.
We've talked so much about it.
We have. I think I made like 4 or 5 videos on it this week. So
and people still want more.
Strata Premier is a better card to blindly recommend, in my opinion. Gas and real grocery earner, and you can get a 2x card earning the same points. Their 5x card is better year round versus Freedom Flex. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, it depends. Like again, it depends on what transfer partners you need. So you're not going to be able to transfer to Hyatt or whatever from cities. So if that's like what they want to do, then they can't. It doesn't matter how good their earnings are. That's true.
I like that. Then we have, let's see. Okay, still Bilt. Hello from the gym. My one card would be the Hilton Aspire. There we go. Mad Matt with the hot take. Yeah, it's a great card. It's a great card. It just if you are all in on the Hilton ecosystem, I feel like the Surpass might be a better earner for like most categories there, right? Because that gets you, I think that's dining, groceries, and gas, right?
Yeah, it's really good. Correctly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But the Aspire card, it's solid. I had a consulting call this morning, and they were asking about, should I put airfare spend on the Hilton Aspire, because they were thinking about downgrading their platinum card and getting an Aspire card. And like, we had to think about, okay, would we rather get 5x Amex points or 7x Hilton points? And that was kind of the key decision there. But yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. Oh, he loves that thing. He's an Amex fanboy.
Yeah. I mean, the Aspire card is a good card. Wells Fargo Attune is my second biggest Aaron card. Okay. That's awesome.
Card, yeah. The Attune is a sleeper. What I really want to do is change my autograph to the Attune if they would let me, but I've heard that's not very likely.
That would be nice.
But yeah, like for gym, for example, 4x on gym purchases, pet stores, a bunch of random categories that I actually would use, like the Attune would serve me better. So that's like a long-term plan of mine, but we'll see.
I thought about using my Carrot card for the gym purchases, but I only spend, I think it's like $35 a month for that. And so I'm like, I don't
Yeah, mine's unfortunately more expensive here, but yeah, I'm using my custom cash for that right now, so I don't know.
Oh, nice.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather do the Attune and then use the custom cash for gas, but we'll see.
Oh yeah. So Martin has no use 100% one card for a rental. Okay. Yeah, I guess if you are kind of I guess over insured, that can be a problem because everyone's like maybe the other guy should pay for it. So maybe that could be a problem, I guess. But I think technically, like if any part of the rental is there, they're supposed to cover it.
I'm sure they would. Yeah, I'm sure they would try to fight it. But that's the way that the terms of since I've been in this game, that's what everybody's always reported.
Yeah.
Is you just have to pay like taxes and fees and you're good.
Yeah, I actually have to apologize to World Explorer for 45 minutes. I've been leaving you hanging. I'm so sorry for $10 super chat. You guys, you're amazing. Sorry. First of all, I apologize to you, World Explorer. Can you guys talk about the Flying Blue subscription? $227 for 17,000 points per month. 27.24 for 204,000 points a year doesn't sound bad. This is my version of paying cash for some flights. Okay, so you're buying a Flying Blue subscription, and for $227 you're getting 17,000 points per month. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So 17,000 points, that's what? That's a third of the
cash
way.
value.
Yeah, okay.
But again, if you're going to redeem like Phillip's talking about, like they were saying here, is 204,000 points a year if you're going to be spending. I actually don't even know how that comes out. 227 for per month. So yeah. 204,000 points a year if you're flying with Air France enough, you could be redeeming that for a very high valuation. Like even with my Air France stuff, like those 204,000 points would be worth like over $7,000. And that's like a 3.5 cent per point valuation. So it just depends on how you're redeeming probably and whether or not you want to technically, basically buy their points like that. But
that makes sense.
I hadn't even heard that subscription, so I don't know.
I haven't either. The only one that I knew about was the Avianca one, and that kind of makes sense because they give you, I think it's like 10% discount on points bookings, which can actually really help you quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually cancel for free for a lot of things too. But wow, yeah, no. Buy miles. It's okay. Yeah, that actually looks pretty good.
Could be a way to somewhat help hit welcome offers. I don't know. It's not the same as like buying like $2,000 worth of IHG or Hilton points at one time, but
yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's just buying points basically. It doesn't look like there's a lot of other kind of benefits of the program, unless I'm reading it wrong.
The way that I look at it is like if you have no other way to earn the points, then buying them is fine. But if you have welcome offers that you're hitting that you can just use to transfer to Air France instead, and you don't need those points, then there's no need to spend extra money. But
that's true too. Yeah. Well, honestly, if this actually gave me better access to being able to book Air France first class, then I would say hands down, because you can't unless you have loyalty status with Air France.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I would say like if it did something like that, that might be worth it. But the acquisition cost for that, they're saying it's 1.34 cents per mile according to 1 mile at a time, which honestly, that's pretty cheap when it comes to buying airplane miles.
Yeah, especially again if you're booking international business class flights.
Yeah,
like
100%.
That's why.
Yeah.
For a domestic
saver fares. Yeah.
Yes. For a domestic flight, though, if you're buying Southwest miles at that, then it's effectively like a wash. So I wouldn't do it for them. But
that's
you have high upside with Flying Blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Thanks so much for bringing that to our attention, World Explorer. And again, I am so sorry for doing that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So he also says, I also have Avianca along with my partner. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Avianca program, Uncle Luke was talking it up recently. And by recently, it was probably a couple months ago. But yeah, that does seem like an interesting program. I think I would do that. Okay, interesting. We have 2 premium seats, 80,000 points. Cash price is $838 each. Okay. So that could be interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Dude. Yeah. Sorry, I put up these books so it blocks the light up there, and two of them just fell down. So that's great.
Oh no. Yeah. This is why I thought the Air France points made sense. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you can definitely make sure that you're spending it, like I'm actually the kind of person that I'm the kind of person that is okay with buying hotel points because like if I can acquire it at, a cheap, like at X and then redeem it at X plus Y, then in my hand, that's pretty good, because also it's a good way to help save for that trip too.
Yep.
Like if my
You can plan it out better.
Exactly, right. So buying points, I'm definitely not opposed to it.
No.
But yeah, with the acquisition cost of 1.34 cents, you definitely have to be a little bit more careful about how you make those redemptions.
Because you can buy hotel points at 0.5 or whatever, or even
Right.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
0.5, which is way easier. I will say
Exactly.
too, just again, that side note that is a benefit on top of this is that you could, not with the Air France as much, but with like hotels, that could really help with welcome offers. If you need an extra $2,000 worth of spend, go buy those points during a 100% sale. That helps you hit $2,000 towards the minimum spend. I don't know, just an idea, but don't use that as a crutch. But
That is awesome. All right. Well, that's it for us, actually. So thanks so much for being here. I can't believe we're still 120 concurrents.
Awesome,
that is amazing. We got a ton of new members here. We got Hashamidi, we got Source King, we got Mad Matt, Dim. Thanks so much for the super chat. You're amazing. John Cutter, thanks so much for the super chat. You're amazing as well. Polygraph as well. Thanks so much. John Cutter again. So that's amazing as well. And of course, World Explorer with the awesome question. Thanks so much. And then Jordan Rules for Credit became a YouTube member as well. Thanks so much for all of you guys. You are incredible. I appreciate you. And honestly, I just have to say, like, all of this Bilt nonsense kind of notwithstanding, like even included, like being a part of this community is always something that I look forward to being able to talk to every single one of you guys. Like, this doesn't feel like work to me, right? This feels like I'm just hanging out with some friends and we're just talking about what we're passionate about. That's what I love about this.
Me too. Yeah. And again, thank you all so much for all the kind words about this whole situation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. And online debate camp, Chris says, great chat. Thank you so much. But honestly, thank you so much, Spencer. I really appreciate you coming on my channel. And thanks again for having me on yours. I guess it was a month or two ago. And it's just, that was an incredible experience. This has been an incredible experience. You just have so much knowledge. So thanks so much for coming on. This has been incredible.
Yeah, dude, happy to do it anytime, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Come talk about some of this stuff. Like you said, I love it as much as everybody else here, so always happy to do it.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much. And thank you for being here. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe. If you'd like to subscribe to my newsletter, there's a link in the description below. You'll actually get up to date with the latest news and credit cards, points, and miles. And I'll also give you some really helpful credit card offers that are available as well. So go ahead and sign up for that. And also, after you do that, make sure that you like and subscribe to Spencer Johnson's channel as well. So he is awesome. So hopefully do all the things and watch out for falling bucks. Exactly. Thanks,
Yeah, seriously.
Have a great day, everybody. Exactly.